because we just talk.
We do just talk.
This is the show.
Welcome back to the show.
Hey, I was like, I'm arriving late, and also I want to get more Zero Escape done today. We should do a shorter podcast, right?
Yeah.
Keep saying to do a shorter podcast.
Yeah.
Then we just sat and talked for an hour without recording it, as if that saves time. Because we were just hanging out and talking for the last hour, which is basically what the podcast is.
Yeah.
So any efforts to save time, thoroughly gone.
We're good at it.
We're fantastic.
We're
at
professionals.
This. We are professionals. Unmitigated, unstoppable, ultra professionals.
Yes.
Just ignore the part where one of us doesn't make money on this. Yeah. We're professional in spirit.
A professional spirit is what I've always wanted.
Give us money. That's how it works, right?
I mean, it works for Rush Limbaugh.
My dad still doesn't understand what I do, no matter how many times. Like I've had multiple times where I sit down and we're having dinner, and he's trying to understand my job, and I explain it in careful, simple detail.
Yeah.
And then we start over every time because he's lost all of it again.
Doesn't he watch like Alex Jones?
Every time I see him, he's like, "How's your podcast doing?" And I'm like, there is a podcast, but that's not what my job is. He does think it's my job. It's not he doesn't just happen to remember there is a podcast in the equation.
He just thinks that is your job.
He's definitely asking how my job is, which is the podcast, which is not the podcast.
Just go with podcast. Podcast is easier.
It's easier because because eventually I got him to understand podcasts.
Yeah.
Because he used to listen to Adam Carolla all the time, and then he was kicked off the air or left. I don't know. He was not on
probably both
radio. And I was like, well, he has a podcast, and I set him up. I'm like, and eventually I was like, here's how you hook it up to the computer, which there was like a 1 year gap, I think, between when I got him to figure out how to play a podcast on his iPod versus and on his, like, you know, his stereo deck and everything at his work, and then how to actually update it via plugging into his computer with iTunes launched, and like how you open iTunes, then you download, you hit the refresh button and it starts downloading all the new podcasts since last time you checked. Then you plug it in and you sync it, and it automatically adds the new ones. And it should be easy. Not easy.
Yeah.
I think I've come back to his computer being on fire once in that process.
Phones made it a lot easier, especially like iPhone, because you just open the podcast app, and then all of a sudden it goes like, hey, there's a bunch of new podcasts. Here you go.
Your new stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can just listen to them.
One of these days I'll listen to podcasts on a device that has an internet.
I mean,
I've still been manually syncing podcasts throughout all my podcast listening time.
You still do that? You have Google Play.
Well, so part of it is I don't like losing my place.
Yeah.
So when you switch over between platforms, or even switch between like hardware, suddenly you've just like lost your place of like where you were in all the podcasts.
Oh, okay.
Like, it just doesn't know which ones you've listened to now, and it's like now it's a whole new world. There's 500 episodes of RT Podcast. Which ones have you listened to? Good luck. But also, I like to have a piece of hardware I can just leave in my vehicle.
Yeah. Oh, right. Because you still use the iPod.
So I'll just have it plugged into my vehicle, and it just is there, and I only even interact with it or touch it or remove it when it's time to like remove it from the vehicle to sync it up again.
Yeah.
After I've listened to the 5 most recent podcasts of like 10 different podcasts, then it's like, all right, time to cycle it through and update this list again. It's not the most efficient system, but every time I try to even sync up the Bluetooth on my car, I just get annoyed.
Oh,
it's like, I'm like, how do you? I just want to make it so my phone plays the podcast in the car through the speakers, and every single time I'm like, I'm done. I'm done even looking this up.
Doesn't.
It's amazing how much more frustrating something can be when you just don't have a computer right there.
Yeah.
It's like when I'm solving a problem that exists in the room my computer's in, I can fucking research that shit, no big deal, and I'll figure things out.
Yeah.
But once it's like it's in your car, which is away from the computer, outside the building, it's like you're kind of going back and forth, and you kind of want an exterior source of information that's not just on your phone itself, because you're trying to use the phone in the first place to do the thing.
Yeah.
And it's like you can't look at the thing and your phone, but also phones are way worse for typing and searching and everything than computers are in general. So it's just it's like an agony to me to even try to research something on my phone. and then I've just stuck to just having my shitty iPod Touch 3 plugged in forever.
If it still works, then why not? I mean,
my classic iPod broke.
Oh no.
Yeah, I still had an iPod Video.
God.
Yeah.
It was a 640 or it was a 680 by something.
It was a dumb shape.
Yeah, it was a dumb.
It was not 4x3 but it wasn't 16:9 or even close to it.
It was a weird video size. Like,
and they custom published movies in that resolution because their gimmick was that this is going to be our iPod that plays movies.
Yep.
Because it didn't have internet.
Nope.
It didn't have a proper browser or desktop of any kind.
This was before
smartphones didn't exist.
Smartphones didn't exist.
Yeah. And it's still the radial circle thing for browsing and everything. But it worked for like ever.
Yeah, but it also played movies.
So yeah, but
until the Zune came out.
I only used it for iPod.
And then the Zune made like the iPod like entirely useless because the Zune was like one giant like screen at some point.
I only used it for podcasts and music to begin with, so the video part didn't even matter. But it's nice just having a screen regardless, I guess. But it was just... I was like, why progress? This thing has an impossibly large hard drive compared to most modern ones now, where they keep getting smaller for some reason. And then, because for some reason, like, well, now that phones are good, we better give them tiny hard drives as opposed to all the old ones where it's like, this only holds music, one of the smallest file sizes ever. Let's make it 200 gigs. Fuck it. I'm like, that's more than I think when I got my iPod Video, it had more hard drive space than my Xbox.
Yeah, it did.
Which is the Xbox which is the biggest files.
Yeah, the Xbox only had 150.
The Elite was 120.
Or 120. There you go.
The original was like 20.
Yeah, the original.
And there was also the Arcade, which had 256 megs.
Right.
They had the gall to ship a $200 console that had less than a gigabyte of storage data, and the whole gimmick was that it was going to be only for their new Xbox Live Arcade marketplace. And not only was that a mistake because it made a shitty console that no one really wanted, but also led to a thing where it hurt video games for a while. Because the Xbox Live Arcade was this booming indie marketplace where that led to us having like Bastion and Braid and games like that. But that was only after they lifted the file size limit. There used to be a file size limit of like 50 megs. So for the first like 2 or 3 years of Xbox Live Arcade and, the 360 being out, you could only have like a 50 meg game total. Yeah. Which meant that when they ported stuff like Castlevania over, the Xbox Live version of Castlevania doesn't have cutscenes. Because they had to cut all the cutscenes because they were like pre-rendered little things.
And they took up too much space.
Yeah. So there's really weird things where like if you're looking at early Xbox Live Arcade games, if that game is on PS3, you want that version because that version is actually the full thing. Yeah. Whatever it is. Like the PlayStation version is like a PS1 classic version, which is just like a ROM dump. And because that's what all the PS1 classics are. Yeah. But the Xbox Live Arcade one is like a custom thing where the custom part is that they rip shit out of it. The custom part is that it's less game than the original.
That's one of the it's one of my biggest I would say it's one of my biggest grievances I have with technology, like phones at the moment, is that we're reaching that point where unfortunate point where the average consumer wants a product but is so incredibly stupid about how it works that they're willing to take whatever's given to them because they just want that product so badly. And phones are at that cataclysm where it's like, hey, do you want to spend $900 on a phone? I'm like, no, I wouldn't want to do that. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, well, but it does all this.
But we're giving you a deal because you'll actually only spend this much, but we tell you it costs that much, even though no one really ever pays that much. And it's like it all feels like how you walk into a clothing store and everything's literally always on sale.
Yeah.
Forever.
But the idea is that, so say for instance, my phone I have, which is recording currently, is
hi Andrew's phone.
Thanks for doing all the good work. The that phone itself is the Galaxy Note 8, and I think that runs about almost $800. Mm-hmm. And that's for the top model. That's the best they got. It's got 64 gigs of space on it.
The fuck
happened there? And I keep hearing there's so many, let me explain, so many really, really good PR excuses for why we don't have big phone memory. And all of them are bullshit. The reason we...
you know how I know they're bullshit?
Why?
Because Marty earlier was like, here's my flash drive. Because we recorded Hack Tag and 2 other games I don't remember right now together. And he gave me a flash drive so I could transfer that to him. And I swear, I think it was a terabyte or something dumb like that. Mm-hmm. Or maybe not a terabyte, but it was like definitely like it was like, it might have been like 60 gigs or 100 gigs or it's some number that was baffling to me.
Yeah.
And it was basically like a fingernail.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was a giant USB, like the actual plug. And then that was basically it.
Yeah.
It looked like a wireless receiver for a mouse. But that's what his flash drives are now. I haven't bought a flash drive in so long.
Yeah, they're tiny. They're like almost nothing. Yeah.
Nowadays, I'm sitting here like I would actually prefer the like finger-sized flash drive just so I don't lose it, even if it's empty space inside.
Yeah.
Like that thing,
well, I mean, if it makes you feel better, it's always been empty space inside.
Yeah.
Because when you move
I
had
the actual thought of like, if I put this down, will the cat eat it? Like, if I leave this on the counter for him to get when he comes back from work, will the cat actually die swallowing this USB thing?
They have, what's it called? They have little pouches.
Yeah.
That you can put all your USB things in now because they're so small. But the point is that, yeah, you see thumbsticks that are like nothingness. And it's the same
thumbsticks where the actual physical plug is basically the entire device. And that they have larger hard drive space on... or whatever space that phones do.
Yes.
And I'm like, I don't know about that, man.
And phones are using just flash memory. That's all it is. Don't think there's any like spinning hard disk in the back of your phone. It is literally flash memory.
Are you telling me my phone doesn't have an SSD?
It does have an SSD. SSD is not a spinning disk. It's a solid state drive, which is flash memory.
Flash SSD?
Yes.
I don't know anything. I really don't.
Well, okay, so an SSD, to its credit, is slightly different than a flash drive because SSDs are a lot faster and they're more powerful.
I've noticed because I've used a flash drive before.
Yes, so SSDs are slightly different, but the base concept of how memory is stored on the device is the same, which is it's not stored on a spinning disk; it is stored on a flash memory. So phones use the same concept. Surprisingly, though, somehow phone manufacturers are like, I don't know. Apple said one time that you only need like 8, 16, and 32 gigs of RAM or 32 gigs of memory space, and everyone said that was okay, so we're all going to do that now.
Even though it was the Apple product that I had that had like 200 gigs.
But not like a flash memory, Keith. Because remember, when flash memory...
like 10 years ago.
When flash memory first came out, it was incredibly expensive to make. So when the iPhone did it, because they were new and innovative...
Was my iPod video from an era where they didn't make things to break? Was it?
No, that was because it was a spinning disk.
I mean, like, it lasted so long.
Oh, yeah, so did my Zune.
Nothing lasts that long anymore. Yeah. Like, I had a phone I took perfect care of.
Well, I mean, you're asking about this from the company that literally just got caught showing that they make older phones degrade on purpose.
On purpose, yeah.
So to answer your question, yes, Keith, everything back then was made to last.
And it's really across the board too, because I used to have a Windows phone.
Yeah,
I used to be one of those people that use Windows phones. Partly because I think, especially for me, where I pretty much just like text, browse the internet, and like that's pretty much like my list.
Yeah,
like I don't really do major things on my phone because I hate using phones for like video games or like excessive numbers of apps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The giant like the Windows 10 type interface on a phone is great. Just giant flat tiles, and you can change the size of each one, and you can customize your whole layout. Like it looks like the start screen of Windows now is what their phones were like.
Yeah, because it's just Windows 8,
which was great.
Yeah,
at the time that was great. Like I loved that, and one day it literally just stopped turning on forever. I'm like, I never dropped it. No damage was done to it. It's doing great. And then it just quit on me one day.
It died.
And I was like, all right, cool.
Goodbye.
It could almost have just been a bit the day that like Windows just collectively decided that their phones were going to die now. Because I went to the store and like, hey, my phone is dead forever, I guess. And I thought I was just going to replace it with a new one. And they just didn't stock Windows phones anymore. It's like, I was actually like, did Windows collectively just flip the off switch on all of their phones? Did they just brick them all?
It's possible. I wouldn't put it past Microsoft to have that ability to just at any point brick everything.
We're turning off the internet.
I mean, they could.
Now.
Almost every machine is a Windows machine. They could just be like, and brick.
Like that South Park thing where like this giant router in some government basement somewhere, and they have this giant plug that they unplug.
Yeah.
And they unplug it for 10 seconds and plug it back in, I think is what happened.
Yeah.
Because they're rebooting the real internet.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's appalling. So yeah, like I said, I spent like close to $800 on that phone. The max amount of memory I can get for that device was 64 gigabytes of memory.
That's the maximum.
That's the maximum I was allowed to get.
Even though they're pushing like phone gaming and the games keep getting bigger and shit.
Yeah. Well, Keith. Well, I don't know about iPhones, but that phone specifically has the option to add a micro SD, which you want to know what the fun part is?
Yeah.
A micro SD can go up to 250 gigabytes somehow. What? Are you telling me there's a micro SD card, which I bought for $50, could somehow go up to 250 gigabytes? How did that happen? Why isn't it in my phone? Why does my phone not have 250 gigabytes by default then, and I could add another 250 on top of that?
It's like the early questions of like when 360 was slowly inching out towards like, can I plug in a thumb drive to this thing?
Yeah.
Because like the thumb drives were getting bigger than the entire hard drive of the 360.
Yeah.
And eventually like, can you just let me plug in an external hard drive? And like, sure, but you can only use 50 gigs of it or something like that. Like,
yeah.
You had to partition it.
You had to partition it.
And then you could only use it for your 360, but it wasn't the whole hard drive. And you're like, why do you suck?
You know,
They were just opening the door to hacks at that point.
Yeah. I thought the funniest thing to me was like, when the Wii U came out. And I remember the Wii U was like, all right, boys, step aside. 30 gigs max. And I was like, okay, well, let's be real here, Nintendo. Like that, as in 30 gigs, can you do anything else? Like, no.
Weren't some of the launch games immediately like huge compared to like the actual hard drive size of the Wii U?
Yes, they were.
Like
Wind Waker itself was...
My Wii U benefited from the fact that I didn't use it. So it's like I have like I have like Wind Waker on there and Twilight Princess because they just made me play them basically.
Yeah.
And then we played Mario and a bunch of other ones, but actually I had like physical copies of everything.
Yeah, like
I can't buy things on PSN
because I bought the special edition, the Zelda special edition Wii U, which was 32 gigs, not the default, which was 24.
Mm-hmm.
And Wind Waker itself is 4 gigs. And I was like, excuse me, that's like almost a good chunk of my memory. Could you please not? And so I remember waiting for a bit. And Nintendo's finally like, okay, guys, I guess you want to be hip or something. So we'll let hard drives be available to plug into the Wii U. And I was like, well, what kind of hard drives? Like, oh, God, there's different kinds? I was like, Nintendo, you got to stop. It was like this whole thing of like, okay, they can only be like 60 gigs max. And I was like, no, Nintendo, like hard drives are way bigger than that. They're like, okay, hold on. 250 gigabytes max. Make it unlimited. It's like, okay, the max will settle on as a terabyte, all right? We can't go higher than that. I don't know how to do it. It's weird. So then it got...
Was this actually a multi-stage thing that kept happening?
Yeah,
so
I think that like in the beginning it was there was a specific size that they allowed. It was like, because the DS did the same thing where micro SD cards came out and they were like, okay, we can only support this amount of size. And it was like, really? And it was like, no, we can also support this amount of size. Like Nintendo,
I don't understand the sliding limit.
Yeah, I think it's
just seems weird to me.
Yeah, but
it's too bad when they were remaking Wind Waker they couldn't finish it.
Oops,
the game's not done. That was really incredible to encounter when I was playing through the series. I'm like, oh yeah, Wind Waker, they just didn't finish this game.
Yeah,
like it's like, oh yeah, here's the part where you get the first. Like, there's always the designated like you get the first relic. Yep. That you get from multiple pieces in each Zelda game. Then there's the halfway point, midpoint thing where maybe you get a Master Sword or something. And then there's the second part of the game where you put some other relics together. Is usually how the two parts of a Zelda game work.
Yeah.
That's how Ocarina is, and that's how Twilight Princess is. It's like there's some broken thing you need to put together, or like some sigils to grab or whatever the hell. It's a collectathon thing, but it's also usually linear anyway. In Wind Waker, there's 2 temples after the God Temple or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then they're like, well, we can't finish yet, so here's a grocery list. And you just, like, don't have fun for a few hours.
Yeah.
Until you can beat the game. And I was playing the better version of it supposedly because I was playing it on the HD version where they changed a bunch of shit about how that whole hunt works. But it's still like there's just this grand expansive game where there are no new puzzle mechanics and no new trinkets or tools and no new enemies.
Yep.
You just, like, some of them are literally gauntlets of, hey, you know those enemies you fought before? What if there was, like, 8 of them in a room for, like, 10 floors? And it's like, there's, like, a gauntlet to fight through. And I'm like, this is, like, wrong.
It feels like a rush job. But,
but that's... It's something I keep taking issue with is when people have, like, strangely subpar products and unfinished products and weird things like that, where clearly a game never got properly finished, and like, but it's like that's how it came out though, and that's how people remember it.
Yeah.
But then it gets remade or gets HDified or something, and nothing gets changed. And I'm like, this was your chance to, like, you know, finish the parts that weren't finished or improve various parts about it, so when the news you know now because you played Dark Souls.
Yep.
You now know about how rushed and unfinished, like, large chunks of the second half of the game is basically.
But yes, Keith. We literally watched a Hydra kill itself.
Like, you didn't you weren't into Dark Souls necessarily, but like you could agree that, like, clearly they made what they meant to make all the way up until Anor Londo, like all of that.
Yeah.
You get all the way up to ONS, and it's like, oh yeah, this game's as intended.
Yes.
Then you get to like. Dragon Butt Lava Land, where there's dragon butts standing around in Lava Land, and you're like, the fuck?
Yeah.
What is this zone?
It's
and then you fight the Bed of Chaos, and there's bosses that don't work, and entire zones that are just like a weird blob, like somebody just auto-generated them via whatever made like the landscape in WoW.
Oh.
Like WoW's just a bunch of hills that look like they were, like, back in the day it looked kind of nice, but nowadays it looks like a terrain generator. Like, it looks like the island, the planets you'd explore in Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Like parts of the original Dark Souls that people hold so dearly, in the final chapters of it, have entire chunks that just look like they were just thrown together instantly.
Probably because they had to be rushed.
Yeah. And so, like, they're remaking it and they're calling it a remaster, which we've been over how it's just a port thrown to, like, it's like being farmed out to like a Chinese company and stuff, and it's like it's just has nothing to do with them. But like, you would think a remaster would be like, oh yeah, we're gonna get the original people and we're gonna properly finish this thing and it's gonna be better than ever. But not even Nintendo does that.
No.
Like, they do it a little bit. They do improve. Nintendo
will actively improve on a game, but they won't alter a game. They will never change a game,
which I think is wrong. I don't think anyone would be like, Wind Waker has a new temple in it. I hate this.
Yeah, but the thing is about Nintendo.
I don't like how Wind Waker's got better and more content in it and feels like a complete experience.
But Nintendo's not going to.
I want that old school jank.
You know Nintendo, and you know Nintendo has one fatal flaw, which is their Achilles heel, which is everything just stay the same and it will be okay. Just keep making Marios, keep making Yoshis, keep making Zeldas.
The go-to argument somebody would have is that, like, the George Lucas argument, right? Like, once it's out, just don't touch it because you're going to George Lucas it up and fuck it up and everything. Thanks, Shadow. But the issue with that is just that, like, first of all, they are changing shit anyway.
Well, yeah, they're making the graphics better and they're altering some quests and stuff like that.
Or changing actual mechanics of the game. Yeah. And, like, or entire menus and systems that happen in them and rearranging things. So they are changing stuff anyway. And it's also like, but also I don't think the George Lucas argument applies to video games necessarily in the same way. Yeah,
it's not as easy to edit them in that sense. Like, it's not as easy to just, like, and put a dinosaur in.
I mean, it'd be weird if you took, like, Banjo-Kazooie and it was being remade by Cliff Bleszinski and he's just going to change whatever the fuck he wants. Like, once it's divergent enough from the source people, then some weird shit could happen. Yeah. But if it's a game that came out 10 years ago and the game director still works there and shit like that, like, if that kind of stuff's going on, then it's like, why couldn't you just, like, improve and fix the thing?
Just do what your envision was.
Yeah, it's like Dark Souls is only a few years old, but it's a thing where they want to hype it up as being a remaster, like they're actually changing stuff and actually making it a worthwhile product as opposed to just porting the same thing, basically. Yeah. But they also...
That'd be like if Skyrim was remastered every year, which it's not. It's just ported to something else.
Yeah, but the problem is that they have the goal to call it a remaster because they want to hype it up and get people to buy it, but at the same time, they they also don't want to put work in. So they don't even involve the original studio, and they just farm it out to some like HDifier company to HDify it.
Okay, so here's the problem though, is that to some degree, I will say that people are more reserved. Very specifically after the prequels have come out, it's very tough to say like, yeah, forget all those old people that like the franchise and they're all nostalgic for it and want the exact one-for-one recreation of what's already existent in their hands, but just prettier looking. We have to cater to those people. And like, somehow that very vocal majority I would say almost vocal minority realistically, but the vocal minority of people who are like, I am so appalled that you made the Hydra fight playable now and not shitty like it was before, or like people that you should not. I
don't like how this feels like an actual boss fight now, as opposed to a weird mistake.
If anybody is actually sitting there saying like, no, the Hydra fight is perfect, and if they changed it, it would ruin Dark Souls, it's like, I think you're the worst human being, and you should not be here for this conversation.
Because they have people that have just decided they like a thing, and therefore they will defend every facet of it forever.
They have decided that it is perfect the way it is. It is how it was intended, and nothing. If you change anything about it, it ruins the sanctity of Dark Souls.
Like the 999 fans that can't argue against some of the points you make, but instead will just yell at you.
Yes.
And they'll just dodge the actual thing you pointed out that's really irrefutable, and they'll just never... And they'll like... when they can't get past that, they'll just go for like personal... digs. Like they'll just try to like compromise your integrity essentially, because they can't just deal with the thing you brought up.
They can't deal with the fact that it is just bad, and it's okay to admit that something's bad. I have things that I hate about Mario games, and I love Mario games. For me, what feels
skeevy about Wind Waker HD is just that it was a console bundle.
Yes,
like. And I don't mean that in terms of like, oh, wow, it came with everyone's Wii U, like Nintendo Land. I mean, like, it was a console bundle, as in, like, pay this premium price for a custom Wii U for just a remake of a game from the previous console. It's like, that's not a great thing. It's like, oh, they must have really knocked it out of the park, huh? And it's like, you go in, it's like, it looks the same and it plays the same. Okay, and there's a few tweaks here and there.
It does look nicer.
Less nicer than Twilight Princess because of how good Wind Waker already looks.
Yeah. But like, but I'm saying like at least it like because I did look at the GameCube version versus the Wii U version. I was like, okay, I'll give it to you. It looks really nice in HD.
It's called anti-aliasing.
Yeah, but
that's pretty much the primary change. Anti-aliasing and like an Instagram filter. It's pretty much the visible change.
Honestly, they just went in, they like increased the vibrance, and then they put anti-aliasing on it. Is all they did.
There's a little bit of color vibrance and bloom.
Yeah,
to make it like pop a little bit.
Yeah, if you look at the GameCube one, you're kind of looks washed out. What's going on here? But then like the Wind Waker HD is just like
they're remarkably the same looking though.
Well, I mean, everything else is one for one, though.
Yeah.
They didn't change anything.
I mean, but Twilight Princess is not remarkably the same
looking.
Well,
no, because Twilight Princess, because remember...
Twilight Princess on Wii was ugly.
Well, yeah, but remember...
It was just brown and sad.
Cell shading is really handy, because cell shading, when you're altering texture files for cell shading, all you're doing is just making it bigger.
Vector art.
Yeah, but it's all vector art. So vector art can just be expanded and
if you were smart about it, you made it a vector version at some point, at the very least.
Well, yeah, but the problem with like Twilight Princess is you have to make a model based on what the capacity of that system is. So the GameCube can't have 1 million hair fibers on Wolf Link, but the Wii U can. So they have to like change so much more, even though it's the same asset. They just go like an increase amount of hairs kind of thing. But it's still the idea that like, yeah, it's going to look drastically different when you compare Twilight Princess on GameCube and Wii U versus when you compare like Wind Waker to anything, Wind Waker, because Wind Waker because cell shading always works.
But you get what I'm saying though, is that like with Wind Waker, having the remake, not having the game, like I didn't know this going in, but playing the game and realizing like how blatantly like it just runs out of game at one point, and then they're like ending, like then the ... is the bad part of the game. Knowing that exists in the game. But then they went through it and HDified it and did a whole new release of it with physical copies and everything, and then also made that a hardware bundle with a custom Wii U and everything, and went that far in.
Yeah. At
that point, I feel like it's skeevy not to like finish the game. Like
again, I think it's because Nintendo doesn't want to upset the people who are like
weird,
nostalgic for the old game.
But even in the Twilight Princess, they added a Wolf Link dungeon.
Yeah,
that you unlock via the amiibo, so I can't play it.
You want to take mine?
I guess I should. I literally can't access it. I'm pretty sure because I don't have the link because I got the game on its own. It's just, and it doesn't come with a Wolf Link amiibo because I don't own any amiibos. And it's like, that's thanks Nintendo for that.
You can take mine.
Well, at least I'm picking up all these stamps for the Wii U service that doesn't exist anymore. I love it how every time I do a challenge and a chest materializes and it's like, oh my god, what's it? It's one of the 50 stamps that don't work. There's 50 of them and they don't do anything anymore.
You can still use them, but you can't post them.
You can look at them and like, look, that's a letter. And that's a letter.
You can technically draw with them and then just save it to your hard drive, but then you can't post it. So,
yay.
You know, goals.
The biggest, dickiest one was that one where you have to use the iron boots to walk up the giant circular, giant upward water ramp.
Yep.
And all that's at the top of it is a
stamp.
I'm like, this doesn't even... You couldn't just make it a heart piece, huh?
I think one of the... what is it called? I am in the camp, however, I will say, I am in the camp that once the whatever it's called, what was it, the Me world? Or, what they call
the Miiverse?
Miiverse. Once Miiverse was, like, shutting down,
mm-hmm.
they really should have went through and, like, just did one patch that replaced all the stamps with rupees or something.
Yeah.
Just something that was
That's
more...
the same point I made.
Yeah.
Especially since they used to be rupees.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Those were old chests that used to have just a few rupees in them, and they turned them into stamps.
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe just don't constantly tease me throughout the game with a feature that doesn't work anymore.
Yeah. I mean, Wind Waker was just as bad because it had the bottles and stuff like that. So,
but largely didn't... I think you could largely not even interact with that entire system for most of the campaign, but near the beginning, there's a mandatory quest to deal with Tingle. And so you break him out of jail, where he tells you about this whole system, and then the moment you finish being told about this whole system and all that's so exciting, what's going to happen? It's like, this doesn't work anymore. They get a pop-up from the Wii Miiverse that it's closed, and it's like, great. Couldn't just patch that one out, huh?
Nope.
Just patch the whole system out? You pause the game, and there's like 3 tabs, and one of the 3 tabs is a thing that doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's like there's only...
Forever.
There's only 3 tabs in the entire pause menu, and it's gone. And I get so much pushback when I bring this stuff up in the Let's Play, because people will defend everything, I guess. But, like, it's objectively bad to just be teasing you with mechanics that don't exist.
Yeah.
And it's like...
It's... especially, it's like... again, this is one of the things... I mean, it's... like I will give it to Nintendo because they're old and crotchety and they won't just fucking get with the times a lot of the time. But there are a lot of other games that fall into this same problem where they do that shit, where they have things that no longer work or features that aren't available, and they won't just update it. We live in a time where you can update a game at any moment. Just update it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's appalling. You think of, like, imagine if you put in, like, a Super Nintendo game, and it goes like, oh, it's not 1995 anymore? Well, sorry, Buckaroony, you can't have this skin. And it's like, what the fuck is wrong? Why would you include this in the game?
When Diablo 3 was removing the auction house, they removed all traces of the auction house. They didn't leave a button on the start menu forever that's like, no, this is closed now for like the next 3 years.
Are you sure?
Like, they just got rid of the auction house entirely, and they patched out the interface.
Not only that, they even added the new feature of seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Of like having season things or whatever. So it's impressive how you can do that.
It just seems logical to me because
called updating.
Like I talked about it, like there's just a lot, like, and it's not me saying the games are bad. It's just there's a loss of a loss of innocence with Nintendo.
Yeah.
Once they started having DLC and started having limited time of existence, online only services, and started having amiibos, which is physical DLC. And, like, that's collectible and limited edition.
Yeah.
And, like, all these different things that, like, it used to be you bought a Nintendo game and you just played it, and that was the whole game.
Yeah.
But now, like, games have DLC, and they have microtransactions, and they have limited edition physical copy DLC unlocking toys you have to find. And all of their games have hooks into online services that expire, and they expired surprisingly quickly. Like over the I guess like that. I mean, the Wii U as a whole wasn't that long ago.
No, it was. I think the console itself was only out for about 3 years before Miiverse was shut down.
And its entire platform is down.
Yeah.
And so everything that hooks into that, it just hooks into nothing now.
Yeah.
And that's
the only thing that exists is the store.
Yeah.
So the eShop still exists, but that's the only online feature that is functioning. And they're even closing down the Wii store. That's
like even by EA and Ubisoft standards, there are parts of the Nintendo products that are shutting down unusually fast.
Yeah.
I mean, Demon's Souls just went down, and it's a 2009 game.
I mean,
it took like a decade.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things where Nintendo is very. I mean, that's just. I feel like it's more of a Nintendo issue just because they tend to be they tend to be those kind of people that don't. If something isn't working, even if it's not a loss of profits, if it isn't going the way they want it, they'll shut it down. It's just gone forever. And Miiverse was kind of like that. It was a lot of like, it was more.
It was so good though.
It was just kind of like this thing of like no one.
Miiverse was such a pleasant thing.
Yeah, but it was also a thing that like no one really used to the extent that Nintendo wanted it to be used, which was like a community platform where people interacted and you made friends, and all people did is post stupid memes on it all day.
We had such fun, dumb moments where it was Yumi and Joe just sitting around the pad and just drawing dumb shit and posting it to Miiverse. We'd just be like between our recordings, like it's Merle and Durrell. Fuck in a game. What could be better? Yeah. That's because we were playing Survival Instinct right in time with when a character from Survival Instinct died in the show, and everyone's freaking out about his death on
Miiverse.
Miiverse, and we're just like, it's Merle and Durrell in a game. What could be better?
Yeah,
they had to rush that game out. Maybe that's why the game is so low quality, is they had to we had to get this out before the character dies, because he's gonna die like this season. Oh shit. The guy on the cover is gonna die. What are we gonna do? Turns out Michael Rooker has shit to do.
Oh no.
Oh no. But he has movies to film and can't be in 17 seasons of Walking Dead.
Good for him.
The showrunners even say themselves that the show's nowhere near being over.
Excuse me.
We're in like season 7 or 8
Excuse me,
now.
what did you do? What was that?
Yeah.
Because I think you mistook its ending soon. Like
Walking Dead is, by the time it's over, I think Walking Dead's going to be one of the longest running like narrative fictions ever.
Like live action narrative fictions?
Yeah.
No.
What competition does it have?
Soap operas.
Oh, well, fuck those though.
They count.
Yeah, but you know what I'm talking about, though.
Days of Our Lives is technically still ongoing, and it's been ongoing for like almost 40 years.
Yeah, but soap operas are so unscripted, they're practically improv. Like, what happens today? I don't know. Fucking stab her. And like, all right, 20 minutes.
Have you ever watched a soap opera, Keith? It's not like that at all. Jesus.
It's evil twins.
Yeah, it's always like, Bethany, I thought you were dead. It's like, no, that was my brother you threw off the cliff. Bethany, but you're a girl. How do you have a twin brother that looks like you?
Aren't soap operas like daily?
Yeah.
Like it's basically like the worst case scenario version of like Saturday Night Live, where it's just like mass produced rapid fire content.
I wouldn't say like Saturday Night Live. I would say more of like a bad YouTube skit. Like, imagine if JonTron just went down in 100% quality and it was
What if Sugar Pine 7 had to make 10 times as much video?
What if like
as opposed to just like however often they make their weird
it would be more
thing, whatever it is.
It'd be more like if it's like what would happen if you watched Game Theory twice a week? Is like basically the concept.
But I'm just thinking of like shows that are like this thing has seasons of like pre-scripted things with like showrunners and directors and everything like that. Like in that realm, like Walking Dead's already one of the longer ones, isn't it? The super long running shows, like really long running shows, are usually like a sitcom or like a cartoon or like something where they could just make. They can just keep churning out episodes indefinitely because none of the episodes have anything to do with each other half the time.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, like some of those live action, but a lot of them are animated, and that's because you can replace all of the actors eventually and keep going even.
I want to say, Heroes was only 6 seasons?
Heroes was only 4 seasons. 3 seasons? 4 seasons.
No. Heroes was more than 4 seasons.
No.
Yes.
I know you're wrong because I own them.
All of them?
Yes.
Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. You know what?
I have the physical copies of them.
You're not close. House is 13 seasons.
But that's even their House. That's the issue. You're talking about episodic shows. Because House is a procedural.
Isn't Walking Dead? House has plots. It
can
stories.
have an overarching plot for the season, but House still runs with the trapping of being like CSI.
Okay.
A question posed at the beginning of thing, we got to solve this mystery, which is what's happening in the body, because House is Sherlock, is literally that's what the show is.
Yeah.
He's literally Sherlock. But
with 3 Watsons.
Yeah. No, he has 1 Watson. It's that one pushover guy.
Technically,
has the least
Wilson?
screen. But he has the least screen time.
Yeah,
because he just wanders into set in the middle of the episode for 3 minutes. Like, I'm here to be your conscience for 5 minutes. Back to your diversity hire group. your ever cycling group of colorful faces that keep disappearing for some reason because they keep changing over the course of the show. I'm like, what keeps happening to these people?
Kumar was busy, all right? He had
he was like, I'm going to go become part of Obama's campaign. So my character killed himself off camera. Spoilers for House. But they literally just like...
Unfortunately, he's not joking. That is actually what happens.
He literally he got hired by Obama's campaign. So the one day an episode just starts with them finding his body, but he's off camera. So they just see his feet sticking out from behind a bed.
Yeah.
Because I guess he killed himself in that room. And that's the end of that character. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. It was really dark, all things considered, that he joined a campaign where its slogan was hope.
Yeah, but overall, House is basically like the CSI type shows where it's like every episode is almost entirely interchangeable, except for the fact that the season as a whole has a bare bones through line, usually.
Yeah. Kind of like Doctor Who, and kind of like so on and so forth.
A lot like Doctor Who.
Yeah.
It's like generally stuff doesn't have long form story with continuity from beginning to end that much, and that's not usually a thing for long shows. So the fact, like, even Game of Thrones is ending. And that only had 10 episode seasons. And it's ending at like episode 8, season 8. And that's after they made the season 7 and 8 both shorter, I believe.
Okay. And what?
Walking Dead has it had a 6 episode first season. And then it's been like 16 every season since then, basically.
How many episodes was...
It just keeps going.
How many seasons was Breaking Bad? 4?
It was 5.
5 seasons.
Better Call Saul's on season 3 now.
All right.
If you really want to push it, you could pretend they're the same show, but they really aren't. It's not common. You'd probably have to go back to something older. Like how long was MASH around? Was MASH
was episodic.
Was it episodic?
Yeah. Episodic is
I've never seen MASH. I just always hear it to mention as being the show that had like the biggest, most viewed finale ever.
Yeah,
like the finale was the most viewed thing in the history of television.
Of course, why wouldn't it be?
But I don't know anything about MASH.
It's the end of Nam.
Was it like a Vietnam? Was it a comedy or was it a drama?
Both.
I don't know anything about MASH.
Oh,
it's a problem.
I watched MASH during my prom because no one went with me, so I watched it in the limousine outside of the place.
Oh, so
but yeah, MASH was a drama.
Wait, did your mom like buy you a limousine for prom or something? But
no, I went with a group of friends, but I didn't have anybody to go to prom with.
So you just stayed in the limo?
I went in with them, and then I was like, why am I here? I don't dance, and I don't have anybody to go with, so I'm just gonna go in the limo and watch TV in there. And so me and the limo driver just watched MASH in the back of the limo.
I had a group of friends that would hang out in the physics room, and we just... like that'd be where we spent our lunch. It was like one of the newly developed buildings at the end that, like, when we were on our tail end of being at that school, they had the newly developed like really nice buildings.
Yeah.
So we're just hanging out in there during lunch because it has air conditioning and it looks nice and everything. And instead of the shitty benches everyone flocks to, I'm like, where it's just misery.
Yeah.
It's like we can sit in normal people chairs instead of weird braided plastic dip.
I don't know who decided that.
They all look like ice cream cone. They look like you go to Foster Freeze and you get like the chocolate dip.
Waffle cones?
No, it looks like the chocolate dip, like that texture. Like, it looks like they just made a bench and then sprayed it with like plastic melt.
They did.
Until it becomes not melt. Yeah. And I was like, I don't want to sit on this. You can tell they did it because it's all drippy on the bottom and shit. And I was like, oh, these are just mass-produced garbage benches. But
it's a school. What do you want? They're not funding.
So my whole group, when prom came around, we just went bowling, but we dressed up. So we were dressed.
What did you dress up?
So we were all dressed up for prom, but we went to the bowling alley and played DDR and bowled and stuff like that, and just had fun.
Why did you dress up at all? That's such a weird.
Because it was prom. That was.
But you didn't go to prom.
But that was the gimmick. is that we were going to prom, but not going to prom because we didn't think we'd have any fun at prom. But
did you guys like pay for suits?
Well, we just wore shit we had.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know if other people did. I just wore my dad's shit.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, as long as you didn't rent a tux for nothing. Like,
I just went rating for like that's a jacket, that's a tie,
okay,
white shirt. This works. I already had dress shoes because I needed them for graduation.
I would have preferred to have done that or stayed home.
I think I wore the same clothes for graduation, actually.
God, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think both prom and sober grad night or whatever the hell they called it. Was that what they called it?
Yeah, sober grad night's my first YouTube video.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Have you ever seen that?
No.
It's shit. We were doing
oh wait, I think I did.
For context, because I don't know what parts of the world or even what parts of the country get sober grad night.
Not Europe.
What that even means to people. It's the idea that you're graduating. You're graduating high school.
Yes.
But you're at that's a celebratory type thing. But it's illegal to drink at that age in our country. In our state. Yeah. Is it just our state or is it the whole country? Can anyone in the country drink at 18?
I don't know. I don't trust the South. Maybe they'll let people drink anyways.
I think it might wobble a little bit from 21, but I don't think anyone's 18, but I'm not sure.
No.
But you can't drink at 18, and they assume that you're all degenerates and you're going to go drinking and driving and dying. And to be fair, they're not wrong.
They're not wrong.
Because historically, people do die, like, literally graduation night, and that's, like, not a great time.
Happened for my class.
You generally don't want to die on your high school graduation.
I mean, it's a wasted 12 years, I'll give you that. Like,
I mean, there's definitely a lot of, like, people are like, I can't imagine life after high school, but some people literally don't get to go past high school, so they never get to figure out the whiplash of how that goes. So sober grad makes some sense in that aspect. I wasn't gonna be doing shit because I literally had never had a drink at that point and wasn't really in any hurry. I probably would have been playing. What year was that?
2008 for you?
I probably would be playing Assassin's Creed 2 or something. I don't know. I'm trying to date this shit. It's not easy.
Well, yeah. Yeah, so it would have been because you graduated a year after me, so it's 2008.
Yeah. So what our school does at the very least is they just get everyone together to throw an event, which is they take us, in our case, they took us to like a mini golf arcade type building.
The same place every goddamn year.
And so all of the
and they deny it every goddamn year. They always say, no, it's never there. It's not going to be there
again. We're going to go somewhere new this time. Yeah. No, but you basically, mini golf's open and
mini golf, it's an arcade.
It's an arcade. And so you're playing mini golf for free.
Like
and there's go-karts.
Thing.
All the arcade machines are unlocked to just play for free forever, that's all right.
Laser tag.
That's pretty all right. Just do all that shit for free.
The X-Men thing is real fun to play when you don't have to pay quarters. It's a real fun game to play.
X-Men, welcome to die.
Yeah. It's great.
Does it still say that?
Yeah.
Is that version?
Yeah.
That's the 6-player one, right?
Yep.
Or is it just way too many players?
Yeah. That's the one.
It's like one of those arcade machines that so many players have to fit around it that you have the normal arcade machine box, and then there's like a weird fin sticking out that has all the controller inputs that sticks out like 3 feet from the actual thing.
Because they have
to have a semicircle for 6 people to stand at.
And this was before like curved TVs existed because they're all just CRT monitors. Yeah. So there's no way you could have like it curved so everyone could see it. So they had to like just make the TV further and then make the controllers outward. It's
all weird. But my first ever YouTube video, which is still on the channel as like unlisted, and I break it out every now and then as a weird thing, is I just started filming for 5 minutes on my camera because I brought my camera to sober grad night.
Okay.
And that was back when people were more likely to need a camera and not a phone for that purpose.
Yeah.
And so I filmed for 5 minutes, 4 minutes and 59 seconds of just dumb sober grad night bullshit. And it's just a dumb, embarrassing video.
Because Max was in your graduating class, right?
Max was in my graduating class. I don't think he was there, though.
I thought he was there.
No, it's pretty much all the same people from the prom night.
Okay.
So you probably wouldn't know any of them.
No.
So you never knew Ryan.
Nope.
No.
For my sober grad night, I slept. I slept through it. I went to the viewing area for the laser tag, and I went to sleep. And then I woke up at like
A decent number of people just slept through it.
Yeah, I think I woke up at like 5 a.m, and they were like, "All right, we're leaving." And I was like, "Oh, right, we were doing like a thing here." I forgot about that.
It's a weird concept.
I didn't want to go to it. The only reason I had to go is because my parents were part of like the committee who did it, and so they were like, "Well, we put all this work in, you got to go." I was like, for one, I told you not to, and for two, I don't want to do it. So why would you?
There's this weird feeling of like you're almost. Because like a lot of people do stay up, and I think I stayed up too. And there's a weird sense of like it's like a school sponsored sleep disruptor.
Yeah.
Because like I would never stay up till 5 a.m. just because it sucks.
It does. Yeah.
Like you make the mistake like once, and you're like, oh great, so tomorrow just is bad. Great.
Yeah.
Glad I did this.
I mean, granted, it's not like I couldn't stay up. It's just like there wasn't anything to do. I didn't have anybody to hang out with. Everyone that I knew in high school was like either didn't go because it's stupid and lame, or they like were hanging out with groups of people I didn't know. So I was like, I'm not going to deal with that. I couldn't play mini. I couldn't play mini golf.
Gotta escape all these odd people.
Yeah, I was like, they're all in my graduating class, but they're people I don't want to interact with because I've been around them for 4 years, and if I didn't interact with them then, there's a reason why. But
you already know.
But like, and like the mini golf was like everybody was always playing mini golf. All the go-kart things were taken up. Like there was nothing that you could do that wasn't crowded. Basically, it
was a little frustrating. I think I remember. I don't think I got to do laser tag or the go-karts the entire night.
Yeah,
because there was such a backlog of people trying to get into it. I'm like, I'm not going to wait in line like I'm at a con.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was like, I'm just going to fucking sleep. And so I did. And it was just like, it was dumb. I don't know what compels a school to do that. I was hoping for a trip. Even if it was just a freaking Six Flags down the goddamn street, it would have been more interesting than going to a stupid goddamn like for literally like 10 and under children play area.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm in high school. If I want to bring a girl on the most unclassiest date ever, I will bring her to this place and play mini golf and beat her at it. But otherwise, I will never show up to this place again. There's something funny about being like, we don't want you to do all those nasty adult demons tonight. So we're going to take you to this place that has like pastel splurt floor. Yeah.
Like it's that carpet where somebody took like a shampoo bottle full of paint and just squeezed it everywhere. And it's just streaks of random colors across the whole floor. Like that kind of place.
It's very like 80s. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's arcade floor, which always looks absurd. I don't even know.
It's just, yeah, it's a dumb thing. I hated that. But yeah, so anyways, MASH is a drama. MASH is a drama / comedy.
I've lost the complete thread again.
And so it did go on. I think MASH did go on for a pretty long time, but MASH was also mostly episodic. It did the thing where there were a couple episodes, like sometimes they do part 1, part 2, part 3, but for the most part, it was usually like each episode was a new crazy mission.
It's hard to think of a narrative show that's fully scripted and directed and everything with seasons and stuff like that that competes with how long Walking Dead's going to be if it keeps going at this rate.
I mean, it's only going to keep going as long as people keep watching it, and I think if you give it like 5 years, maybe it can't be on the air anymore because people are just going to stop having cable. And it's going to get to a point.
You don't think it's going to evolve onto digital platforms?
Not unless TV companies learn how to use the internet for once in their goddamn lives.
Oh, so you think Walking Dead's not going to die because of a lack of popularity? You think it's going to die because its little form of existence as a media form will cease to become viable?
And it's just going to do the thing like Star Trek.
It's going to outlive its entire platform.
Yeah, and it's just going to do the thing like Star Trek was. Where they were like, you can only watch Star Trek on our special app. It's on Hulu or Netflix or anything like everyone else uses. You have to use our special app and pay for our special app service.
That's miserable.
And people are like, so I'm not going to watch Star Trek. And they're like, no, please watch Star Trek. It's really good. I'm not going to watch Star Trek.
Please take our STD.
And it didn't work.
I still can't believe they called that show STD.
I can't believe they're bringing back Atlantis. Or not Atlantis, Stargate. Yeah.
I was going to say, like, it was a Stargate first.
Yes.
There was an Atlantis one at some point. I can never bring myself to watch Stargate.
Really?
Because the movie was so bad.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the basis of the entire show, is that it's based on that movie.
Yeah.
And the movie's bad.
It's a bad movie.
It's a bad movie that spawns, like, hundreds of episodes of show.
But it's a good TV show. That's the hard part.
And also, every time I see anything about Stargate, the first thing I see is the guy with the dumb thing on his forehead.
The Klingon guy, yeah.
And he just seems like I don't like that character, I don't think.
He's a great character.
Like,
he's kind of like Jax.
I can't get into it at all.
Oh, yeah, he's like
every time I see him, like, I can't take this guy seriously. What the fuck is happening?
He's more like Jax from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Drax?
Or Drax.
Yeah.
Where he's kind of just like very taken aback by human, like, whateverness. Like, humans are great. And he's just kind of like, you guys are a lot of work.
It's just so much to get through. If I was...
it's a lot. I'm just saying it's in the vein of like Star Trek when you try to introduce somebody to Star Trek and they're like, that seems like a lot of shit to deal with. And you're like, but it's
one issue with Stargate is I'm probably more likely to try to watch classic Doctor Who and the other versions of Star Trek before I try to start another universe again.
Yeah,
because like I still need to get around to watching Voyager and Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it.
And maybe I'll try Enterprise. I don't know.
I watched it I've
seen Discovery.
Oof.
I've seen all of Discovery so far.
I've seen. I mean, I watched Stargate when it was airing, so I was in that. Like,
yeah, I didn't at all.
So I was in that part where it's like I only watched it because it was on TV, kind of thing. Where like, so I could watch it week to week.
I think I finally watched a movie because I kept hearing about the show, and then I was like, "This movie sucks."
Yeah, it's a shit movie.
And then I watched it again like a few years ago, and I'm like, "This movie still sucks."
I watched Stargate before I watched the movie. So I just started watching it, and I was like, I don't know what's going on, but let's have fun. And I just went with it. And then I remember Ethan told me, he was like, hey, did you ever watch the movie, which is supposed to like start the whole thing? I was like, there's a movie? I'll watch that. And I was like, that was a mistake. I shouldn't have watched the movie. I would have never watched the show.
He made this whole show less good now in retrospect.
I was like, what happened?
It ruined all the characters because there's the guy with the glasses that probably doesn't even show up in the show.
Oh, Billy?
None of those people are probably in the show at all, right?
What?
The new one? People in the movie?
Yeah, those people aren't going to be in the new one.
No, I mean the people in the movie. The people in the Stargate movie are probably not in the show at all, are they?
No,
it's just an unrelated. We discovered Gates.
We discovered Stargates. Yeah,
yeah.
It's just a lore for Stargate, basically. No, the only person that was there was the captain. Was the old guy, the salt and pepper guy.
Don't remember anymore.
Captain Jack.
I remember a strange pyramid intro.
Pyramid intro.
Was that the show where like some kind of weird creature or thing in robes or something is like in an Egyptian pyramid at the discovery of some kind of relic or something, and that's like the cold open before you meet all the characters?
Oh, okay, yeah.
I remember that more than the whole movie usually. That, and I kind of remember Glasses guy trying to teach girl how to speak as a core gimmick of the movie.
Oh,
because she doesn't speak English.
Yeah, she doesn't speak.
She speaks alien speak or something, and I can't tell you what the plot of the movie is. I've seen it twice now, and I can't tell you what the actual, like...
It's been a while. I'd have to rewatch it.
What the risk was, or who the bad guy was, or what was happening.
Yeah.
All I can say is that he had to teach her English.
Let's see here. Okay.
We should probably...
Let's do a question.
Should probably do a question. 1 second.
He's moving. He's shaking. He's moving and a shaking and a moving and a shaking and a close the door. It's done now.
I did it.
All right, so we have a question. I can't read that screen behind me, so I'll read yours.
Why do we have so many screens? Find out in episode 20.
Let's see. So
the Great Screen Caper.
The Great Screen Caper. Let's see. Hello, Andrew and Keith. How are you? I just recently started watching this channel. I totally love this. I don't know which channel, but thank you. Let's see. I was wondering if
that is true.
Yeah,
it doesn't see. You actually don't know which channel they mean at that point.
I was wondering if you're also. Let's see.
It's your channel.
Okay. I was wondering.
It's clearly your channel because all their questions are about Tokyo Jungle.
Yeah, I was wondering if you're also playing Tokyo Jungle, but then live. That would be really great. Question 1. Oh, that's question 1. Okay. If you're also playing Tokyo Jungle, but then live?
It's not a very well worded question, just in general.
No, I'm not playing Tokyo Jungle on live streams. Number 2, how did you come of, wait.
It's the same question as before again about why are you doing, like, how'd you think to do YouTube? We just keep getting that question.
Oh, okay.
I don't think people are listening.
The answer to that is episode 1.
And also again in other episodes.
Yeah.
Kind of.
So question 3, Can you play Tokyo Jungle on a laptop computer? Yes, it's called an emulator. You can look up a PS3 emulator. They do exist, and they are actually functional.
As far as can you just buy it or not? No. It's just a PS3 game.
It's just PS3
period.
Game. Yeah. And number 4, are you planning on continuing the series of Tokyo Jungle? Yes, if they make a Tokyo Jungle 2.
Tokyo Jungle was such a weird cult hit for people that don't understand shit. It was kind of fascinating.
What do you mean don't understand shit? Like in general?
Like the demographic for Tokyo Jungle had terrible technical know-how about how to get games and stuff like that.
Well, they're children.
Yeah. So it's a bunch of kids and furries and stuff like that were into that game, and like quickly became apparent they had no idea what they're doing, because the idea of a game that's exclusively on PSN was like an inaccessible concept.
It had one release,
but only in Japan.
Well, no, remember there was an there was an American release.
Remember
they had it was a bundle. It was Tokyo Jungle and something else, and it was 3 bundle.
Oh right, later on there was a weird Tokyo Jungle and Rain and something else. I want to say it was the things made by Japan Studio or whatever it's called.
Yeah. But that was it.
There was a weird.
That was the only time you could get Tokyo Jungle physically was in that weird 3 set.
For the longest time, people were like, "I can't get this. And why is it so much on Amazon and stuff like that?" It says Japanese import in the listing.
Yeah.
Because it's a physical disc you're importing from Japan that's like $50 special edition.
Also in a language you can't read.
Yeah.
So good luck trying to figure out how to do the controls.
Tokyo Jungle is so weird and appealing and also crap at the same time.
It's only crap because the world isn't changing. The world's
That's one of the big things. For those who don't know, Tokyo Jungle is a PlayStation exclusive roguelike that's not great at being a roguelike in a lot of ways. But you pick an animal, and you
either herbivore or omnivore,
and time just starts burning by. There's at all times
it burns.
Yeah, on the top of the screen, it just tells you what year it is, starting at 0.
Yeah,
and it just counts down, and you're constantly
it's counting up.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's counting up. I mean, like you're counting all of your stuff's going down because you're aging. Your character is aging, and you are becoming more hungry, and you have health to manage for combat reasons.
Yeah.
And if you become poisoned or too hungry, your health starts going down. So it's got all these survival elements. So
it's got a lot of survival.
So instead of being all about like a lot of roguelikes are about grabbing random weird power-ups and fighting constantly, and that game is often about fighting, avoiding combat entirely, or just killing something specifically to eat it in many cases and things like that.
Mostly to eat it.
Yeah. But also your character, when he gets too old, his health and stamina, like maximum numbers, start draining down until until eventually you're just too old to live.
Yeah, basically there's like a cutoff period for animals' lifespan. Like dogs cut off at 16 and cats cut off at like 20.
So you need to make babies.
Yes.
Which meant that you needed to take over an entire zone of the map to be your personal territory by marking territory everywhere.
3 times.
Then you had to find a mate, and there was like 3 or 4 mates in each region.
You got to find the top tier good one.
And each one had a ranking to it.
Not the black hearts. Never date a black heart.
You basically wanted to get the S rank fuck buddy, and you had to make babies together so that you could then play as those babies.
Yes.
And the weirdest thing is once you make babies, you then have a series of animals that are running around like a JRPG party in a line together.
Yeah.
And you're controlling the one on the front. But if you die, you just switch control to the one behind.
Yes.
And so you have like suddenly after the first time you have babies, suddenly you have lives instead of one animal.
And depending on which mate you pick depends on how many lives you get, basically.
But terrifyingly, all of those animals are also in the public around with you, so they can be attacked.
Yes.
And you can lose them without actually dying yourself. You're like, oh shit, my lives are all gone.
Gators will destroy.
Mm-hmm. But just to top things off, it had a local-only multiplayer shared screen mode, which is what it had.
No, it didn't have.
No, it didn't have online.
Yeah,
so that's what Andrew and I did.
Yes,
and so we started playing local co-op for that game.
And apparently, we were like the only ones. Those videos were
themselves. Those videos were just so eventful and fun and dramatic and stuff like that.
Why Bear?
So we did it for a while. It was one of our first ever breakout video things ever.
Yeah,
basically,
it was one of the first videos on set.
It was pretty much that time and the time that Ben Kuchera tried. Yeah, that Ben Kuchera decided to post Artemis on the PA report, and it was our video of like the dumb drawing of Sid as Captain Picard as the thumbnail and everything. Yeah, and it's just us sitting in Marty's living room playing Artemis with a bunch of people with terrible setup for trying to record any of it, because you need to be rich in order to set up an Artemis recording setup with like 6 microphones and cameras and everything.
Yeah.
So it was just a webcam and shit like that. But those two were like the 2 breakout things. really.
Those are the two that really took off.
And so we did the series for a while there in Tokyo Jungle, but at some point it's just like, what do you do? Like, the game just doesn't have that much to it.
No.
It has a large number of animals, like 50 or something.
Yeah, there's a lot of animals and combinations you can make, but at some point you hit a cap where you go...
They just largely play the same.
Yeah, you get to a point where you're like, I know all the zones, I know how to avoid all of the dangers that come at me, I know how to like fight properly. The only thing that's holding me back is the limitations of the character I pick.
The rough thing is that the map's not randomized fully like they are, it usually isn't a roguelike, so you have a pretty much set in stone layout of this Japanese neighborhood that is a real place largely, and none of the streets change.
No.
But there's just a few, like...
Sometimes you'll get a pathway.
Yeah, there's
like
a few
tunnel.
There's a few like caves here and there that will sometimes be covered and sometimes uncovered in different runs, and that's like the only real variety to it.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't have the infinite replay, but people will not stop asking.
They won't. It comes up.
We haven't made a video of it for like 3 years, I think.
No, and
it's years.
It's like a meme at this point on the damn channel. It's like people will just go onto random games, like even Mirror or like any game, and people, when are you gonna play Tokyo Jungle again? It's like, I keep saying this. When they make a 2,
there's people that are prepped
there
for the infinite repetition, and there's people who aren't.
Yeah,
like there's certain brains that can just cope with it, and I don't think either of us are that person.
No, I can't. I cannot play Tokyo Jungle.
See, forever. What you need Northern Lion or Wanderbot to buy a PS3. And
have a friend.
And they can give you the really long Tokyo Jungle series, because I've seen Wanderbot play one game for like 200 episodes. Where it's just doing runs over and over again.
Yeah.
And obviously Northern Lion's done it
his entire career.
He's probably done like 2,000 or 3,000 episodes of Binding of Isaac versions at this point. Like just nightmare numbers that are incomprehensible. What blows my mind is that when a new version of Binding of Isaac comes out, I'll check Northern Lion's channel.
Yeah.
And when it's been like a week or something. And not only will he have still been making a daily video of Binding of Isaac every single day, but he's also restarted the number count for because he's now the series is now named after the new version of Binding of Isaac that he's playing. But on top of that, when the new one comes out, he does what I do for Dark Souls sometimes, which is he's doing like 3 episodes a day of the same game, which is like, on some level, I get that when it's like, oh, the hot new game, let's do this. But it's like, it's the same game he's been playing every day for years already. And he does like an energy boost of let's play it even more this week. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. It's like you're just trying to burn out, right?
He hasn't, though.
I don't understand.
I don't think he can burn out on a game that he just is soulless about. He's just an autopilot, right? He just like click, click, the game loads up and he goes like, close his eyes and just plays the thing while saying stuff, and it doesn't even matter that it's relative to the game, or he can make up shit by sounds at this point. I bet.
I just don't know how some people keep going like that, like just forever.
But like
that's probably what would happen if somebody tried to record the process of like getting to Monster Hunter rank 999.
Yeah,
it's like you've just been playing this one game for so long, and it's like you're just fighting the same things you'd fought in the first 50 episodes.
People do that with Dark Souls.
But Dark Souls is at least like a campaign.
Well, yeah, but some people want to get like max level.
I mean, there's Lobos Juniors out there that just keep looping.
Yeah.
Have you seen that? His Twitch channel?
Yeah.
Like he just keeps doing challenge runs. Like he'll play other games every now and then, I think, but he just keeps doing. I don't follow.
I think he plays games. I don't know. Maybe it's only Dark Souls. I
don't follow him actively, but I think I've seen him play other games before.
Yeah, he doesn't play other games.
But he keeps playing more and more special runs of Dark Souls over and over again. To the point where at one point he was playing Dark Souls by watching his own stream with delay on. So he's watching the delayed version of the video and playing the game. So the stream itself featured a picture-in-picture thing that showed what he's seeing versus what's happening and stuff like that, to show you like the time delay between the two, so you could see it in the video itself.
Yeah.
But he was just watching his own delayed video, and he was winning at the game, and it's like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, eventually people get to the point where it's like they do the run where I beat Dark Souls 3 without ever getting, without ever rolling or blocking. No rolling, no blocking. That means all of their damage avoidance is just on walking around, basically.
Or parrying?
Maybe. I don't know if that counts or not. I've never actually watched those runs.
I mean, a parry shouldn't count because you're not blocking the move. You're actually stopping the move and then attacking.
Yeah.
So parries do count as an attack, technically.
I don't know.
It's not like a shield bash.
That's for other people that care about this stuff to argue about.
I don't.
If you ever wonder why people don't necessarily go all in on that kind of crap and might just chase novelty and new games and stuff like that, or why people move on eventually, is because, like, kudos to Northernlion for playing that game for 1 billion hours, but like his channel is exceptionally small for how old it is at this point.
Yeah.
Like, for a Let's Player to be going that long, he's nowhere near 1 million yet, is he?
No.
I don't think so. Like, it's not the best strategy generally to just bank on one game forever.
Yeah.
Like, some people worked for some people when they banked on Minecraft, because Minecraft was so much bigger than Binding of Isaac.
I mean,
but even that dies down eventually, and you're like, now you're like, what does Yogscast do now? And that question happens.
They don't.
They don't
do anything.
What does Yogscast do now? They don't.
They don't.
They don't do.
Yeah, last I checked on Yogscast, they'll just like play a random game or something, usually with a bigger... A lot of them like split up in a sense and went to become Twitch streamers on their own. And then like just still do Yogcast stuff together, but usually...
it's like how Channel Awesome has just been exploding over time, and imploding over time.
Pretty much.
And just shedding all of its people, the same way Escapist did.
Yeah.
Was it? I've also noticed that like sanity wins out a little bit with gimmick runs, which is that gimmick runs are fun to think about, but more so than they are fun to watch.
Okay.
Like, that guy did that. That's crazy. But like the YouTube channel, like everyone, like so many people have heard about the guy who beat Dark Souls by playing the drums.
Yeah.
And he beat Dark Souls by singing. And he beat Dark Souls by touching bananas and stuff like that.
I was going to say, there's the banana thing.
The bananas that are set up to like electrical circuits, and he just touches them, and those are all the buttons of his controller. Like, everyone's heard about that guy. They're all the same guy, by the way.
Yeah, I know, because that guy's a lunatic.
But his channel has so little following.
Why would it have any following? He's just a weird guy who plays Dark Souls on various different objects.
And it's because, like, it's one thing to look at the funny video and be like, he made that. But, like, it's so niche to be the guy that actually watches each of those playthroughs for, like, 12 hours or whatever. And, like, I'm going to watch... Eventually just watching Dark Souls.
Also, again, I mean, at some point, you're only there to watch... Like, most people only watch those videos to look at major boss fights and watch him, like, slapping bananas really hard. So
the go-to highlight is just watching him beat ONS with the gimmick.
Yeah.
Which is like a 3-minute video as opposed to watching a full playthrough of Dark Souls again.
I would honestly say, for him, he would probably make a lot more... He'd probably get a lot more views if he just broke every boss fight up into separate videos.
I think he might.
Does he?
But it's just one of those things where, it's just one of those things where, like, the novelty
won't carry you
quickly.
Yeah, the novelty tends to not carry you that well.
It's also kind of like why...
Not unless your novelty is, like, really extreme. Like, if you're a guy who had no arms and you only play video games with your feet, and, like, every game you play on your channel is you playing with your feet.
Or like the guy that hit max level in WoW with a DDR pad and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Gimmick runs are amusing to think about more so than to watch, like, the entirety of. And so that there's a thing where it also goes into the recurring question of, like, why do people do commentary? Which is a thing I re-answer every now and then. It's like, why commentary is a thing on videos and stuff like that. And it's like, it's because the personality part is why people follow you.
Yeah.
Like,
following you just because, or if you're following someone just to watch a video game, it's kind of... it's kind of weird because to some regard
you presumably want to watch the video game with that person specifically, and so that's what people can bank on.
And if not, then just put the video on mute.
Like, here's the issue is that
or buy the game.
It's like people complain like why there's all these giant channels that have all this that are personality based, and why there aren't giant channels for like silent gameplay and stuff like that.
I mean, Chip and Cheese them do that. They have silent versions and they have commentary
there's like a couple of silent channels, and one of the big ones is MK Ice and Fire. You see them come up everywhere. The problem is that you don't need more than one of those.
No, because if they're playing the main games and
once there's a silent playthrough of A Way Out or whatever, and that's what somebody wants, then they don't need more of them. Whereas, like, with commentary channels, you got to find, like, the channel that you like. Yeah. And watch that one and stuff like that.
Because you're watching people... And you're watching someone hang out.
People want different things, then there's room for different people to exist in that marketplace.
Yeah.
But if you're just looking for a silent... If all you want is a 1080p 60 silent video that's just the gameplay and nothing else, and the game audio... Yeah, there's no reason to keep looking after you find the first one. Yeah. But also, there's no reason to subscribe. Because what you're not like, I'm going to follow this channel and see what happens next. It's like, what's going to happen next is they're going to play another game that comes out.
Yeah.
But if you don't care about every game that ever comes out, then why would you subscribe to them just to flood you with games you're not looking for, since you're not looking for what the next adventures of that person is?
Pretty much, yeah.
So my takeaway is that silent channels, no commentary channels, are essentially the equivalent of a library.
Yeah, they're better for looking up at later points if you need to, but they're not good for like watching consistently.
Like if you're somebody who keeps watching MK Ice and Fire videos, there's a decent chance that you're not doing it because you subscribe to them. It's because you just keep looking up different games and you keep finding him over and over again.
Yeah.
Just by happenstance. And you might not even notice that it's the same channel over and over again. And you might not even...
Because there's no personality to dictate it.
Or even if you notice it's the same channel, you might not even bother subscribing because you're like, but that's not why I'm here.
Yeah.
You're literally just checking out you're checking out To Kill a Mockingbird, and then you read it, and then you put it back, and then you leave.
Yeah.
And then you come back next time you're looking up something.
That's true. That is true.
So that's that's the two reasons I think of why no commentary channels aren't popular and don't thrive, because there are people obviously who are in the market for just watching the game and nothing else.
Yeah. I mean, there's a market for everybody, technically.
But there's just no incentive systems that would cause a channel to grow in most cases.
Which is
why the list of silent channels is like practically one when it comes to ones that are marginally successful.
Yeah, Chip and Ironicus do silence but they do silent and commentary.
Yeah.
So they have
it's a byproduct of their other channel, essentially.
Yeah. Well, no, they started doing Let's Play because remember, Let's Play
used to be like screenshots on a forum.
Well, yeah, it used to be screenshots on a forum, but it was always about the game. So when you on the forum that they post their videos to, you can only post silent video content. The commentary is not allowed on there because it's not a Let's Play. When you commentate over it is no longer because I don't remember the weird definition that this
it's confusing
place made up, but the idea was
Birds tried to lecture it a few times, but I argue that the definition just changed, and that's just true now.
My argument is I don't
think the original definition matters.
Yeah, I don't think it matters because guess what? Like, it's not what people call it.
I don't think normal people know what something awful is.
Yeah, probably not.
Like, it's not some weird niche forum somewhere that no one ever people didn't care about.
What about G-Bomb's World? What about all these other video sharing sites?
At the end of the day, the idea of just filming somebody playing a game is just intuitive.
Yeah.
Like, we've all watched somebody playing a game, and we've done that on purpose before, just in real life.
Yeah.
So like the idea of oh, what if this was an entertainment thing? Let's just try this. Oh, well, the technology has diversified and become so available at this point, we could just do this easily for no cost. Why not just try it? Oh, look, people are watching it, and then it happens.
Yeah. And
so and then at that point, it's so much more popular that at this point, the Let's Play definition just matches that basically.
It's also not a big deal because it's not at its core. Let's Play is not like a scholar level kind of conversation to have with somebody where it's like, well, the original definition of Let's Play is quite interesting. It's like, no, it's just somebody played a game. It was like, okay, I watched a dude play a game. I guess
I used to just sit in the room and watch Max and Eric play World of Warcraft sometimes, even though I was playing World of Warcraft. And also, it's not the most exciting thing, but you're just sort of hanging out with some familiar people, watching them play a video game, and it just happens naturally. But yeah, that's the thing is there's just all the most popular YouTube channels ever, period, are all personality driven. Yeah. They're always a person.
It's a person.
I'm following this person or this group of people thing.
Yeah.
So there are none of the incentive structures, none of the growth opportunities really match with the idea of being a silent video game gameplay archive channel.
Yeah, it's not really that.
There's not going to be a day when Long Plays is the most popular channel on YouTube.
Yeah.
The channel where they upload 5-hour playthroughs of obscure adventure games with no commentary. It's just not.
It's good content.
I find those videos constantly.
Yeah.
I'll often look up that exact game because if I look up a classic game in particular and I'm trying to gauge how long it is or how far I am in it and stuff like that, I'll find Long Plays all the time. But it's just why would you follow it?
Yeah, why would you go there? Why would you want to be notified of a new video unless you cared about that game in particularly?
Nope.
Well, I think we can do one more question. hello again, it's me. I don't know who you are. Oh, yeah, I know who you are. Slightly more complicated question this time. How do you balance work, entertainment, and sleep in your day?
No.
Okay. Well, thank you for tuning in.
The answer is no.
Yeah.
Neither of us are the people to ask about that.
I am.
And neither is Wander.
Yeah.
Bird has some kind of system.
He has, like, a significant other who forces him to be...
Well, he has a significant other, but also, like, he has, like... Was it? He, like, we do our group stuff.
Yeah.
And when we do our group stuff, we start at, like, 7, which is usually when he's ready, basically, after work and everything.
Yeah.
And he would stop at 9. And, like, that's not his quiet hours. No apartment place has a quiet hour time of 9 o'clock at night. It's usually, like, 10 or later or something. Like, that's just his natural cutoff point. We're like, no, we do 2 hours a night, and that's it. And then I go on to the other parts of my life. This is basically what he's doing. And he has, like... He goes and he's like in his free time, he's off doing like classes and stuff and like learning things and instruments or having friends or whatever the fuck.
Whatever it is weird normal people do.
But me, Andrew, and Wander are nightmare people.
Yes. We live a terrible life of bad time management choices.
I wake up first thing in the morning and I start uploading all of the videos that rendered overnight. And then... Like, I'll probably be eating breakfast and watching YouTube videos or something. And then once I'm ready, more or less, I just start recording. And often that often takes long enough that I'm pretty much like editing and then going to bed and stuff like that. Like, it can be my entire day, although part of it is that it's too inefficient. Okay. Like the amount I need to record per day does not match the amount of time I lose every day. And that's not entirely just because of the switching games or whatever the fuck, but it's also like distractions and things like that.
It's hard to keep yourself it's hard to keep yourself on the goal when you aren't at a place.
You're sitting alone, unsupervised in at your entertainment box,
and basically. someone has to yell at you, which is you. You have to yell at you and say like, "Get back to work," but like you don't have that intimidating person over your shoulder.
It can be surprisingly hard to keep on task at the right time. Like I can often just be shocked by like how quickly time can pass in the morning.
Oh yeah,
and I have days where I start work at like 5, and I'm like, "What happened today?"
Like 5 in the afternoon?
Yeah. Like I'll upload stuff. Like I'll upload stuff in the morning at like 11 a.m. and then I'll be like, "What did I do?" Like I didn't like watch a movie or like leave the house.
Oh yeah.
So like I have I have days where I'm like, I don't know how I used my time.
Yeah.
I didn't stare at a wall, but I was the being on a computer with internet.
You can just lose it.
Can just make you go into productivity mode and just do anything, even if it's not actually productive. And you can just burn through shit. And I definitely have days where I'm like, what the fuck happened? But also like I come here and we'll sit here and like not do anything for like the first hour of me being here sometimes. And then also we'll take sometimes in the middle of the day or at the end of the day, like we'll have a middle of the day break sometimes where we just don't work on anything for a while. And sometimes
usually like eat food, drink something, like just hang out.
Or like some of our sessions end with us like planning on like, oh, we're just going to take like a smoke break or whatever the fuck and then go back to recording.
Yeah.
But then that just retroactively became the last recording of the day because we end up using so much time. I was like, I guess I'll just go. Yeah. I guess the day's over now.
I'm a little bit more structurally chaotic about my stuff. I guess because I keep myself onto at least a somewhat like stable sleep schedule. So like I go to sleep usually at like try to get to bed by 10, 11 if I can, and then I wake up at like about 3 or 4 in the morning. And
my big thing now is that like probably one of the reasons I lose so much free time is partly because I do just let myself sleep properly every day. So like, unlike previous things where like I would be like trying to crunch all this work and editing and uploading into my schedule and then also working a day job, which would mean I would just lose sleep sometimes if I wanted to keep the whole ball rolling. Nowadays, when I go to sleep, I'm just going to go sleep for 8 hours.
Yes,
I'm just going to reap the consequences of when I happen to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Which could be 11 o'clock at night and it could be 4 a.m. And so that's why some of those 11 a.m. uploads are late sometimes, is because I had a very late night that particular night, either because I was up editing or because I just decided to watch something on Netflix, and that was me trying to have like trying to give myself free time for a while, even though it means I'm watching a show at 4 in the morning and then going to sleep and waking up at noon.
Yeah, because
which I hate.
Oh yeah, that's why I keep my schedule, which is I mean, even if there are some times where I'll stay up talking on Discord until like 12, 1 in the morning, and I look at myself and I'm like, I guess I'll sleep until 4. And but I have to keep myself on a schedule because it will all tumble down if I don't.
It's rough not having a schedule that has to sync up with anyone else, just because it's so easy to come up with an excuse to stay up later.
Yep.
Like, I'll record Zelda until 1 o'clock in the morning, and then while that's importing into Vegas and processing, I'll watch like 2 hours of Jessica Jones or something, and then I'll do a late night editing session when it's all imported and set up, and then set that to render and wake up in the morning to upload it. And it can so easily loop forever.
Yeah.
I think I'd have better work life split if I had an office.
Yeah, if there was a place you go to, which I think is why a lot of YouTubers do that. They have a place
like Jesse Cox and Dodger and stuff have a shared place with some other, like, is the completionist there too?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think he's there. Her husband's there too, or Dodger's husband's there too.
Yeah, the idea of Let's Players that go to work is like a very appealing idea, because you have a start time and then you're there to work. So it's like, well, I better get recording. And then like, I just think about like the time, like I do have a busy work schedule for a Let's Player.
Yeah.
But it still is like, if I'm putting out 6 videos a day, like on a good day, that's only 3 hours of recording.
Yeah.
Like I do have to import and I have to edit and I have to do all the other shit too, which is also time consuming.
If you're being efficient, then it should not take you 12 to like 16 hours to do anything.
Thinking of people that have 8 hour work days and everything, like 3 hours of recording should not be totally crazy. There's plenty of times where that's totally not the case, that it's even 3 hours of recording. Like when I do puzzle games, I'm recording a lot and then editing it down in many cases because of just like,
some games don't always go that well.
Brainstorm time, basically.
But say something like
Monster Hunter grinding.
Yeah, but say something simple like Yakuza.
Yeah.
Or I don't know what else you're playing currently at the moment.
Like I've just watched my backlog of pre-recorded stuff that's coming up in the future just oscillate so wildly, just because I'll have some really good days.
Yeah, you'll just
or even really
through.
Good weeks.
Yeah.
Where like I had a milestone not too long ago where like I had a whole week of backlogged videos for all of my playthroughs. And I was crazy. Like, holy shit.
I get like a week off.
Like my thing is so far in the future. Well, and obviously I'm still recording my normal output. My schedule, my idea is that like there's X number of videos go out per day. So if I have enough backlog that I'm not literally just scrambling to record tomorrow's videos constantly. Yeah. I'll often play 1 week's worth of videos for one game in one day, and that'll be like the day. Yeah. Because that's just, you get into a better groove with a particular game, and there's more continuity of like you not losing track of where you were going next in this open world, or how mechanics work, or what the 15 things are you're juggling. But also, like, if you don't change games, it's just more efficient. Like, recording one game for 3 hours is better than, like, trying to hop between different things and stuff like that. Yeah. For like, a number of reasons, really. So when that happens, it's great. But so many random things will happen where, like, I'll just have surprisingly bad days where I just don't get as much done as I wanted to do. Or, like, I find myself starting later for reasons I don't even fully comprehend, but then like I have all these scheduled things.
Oh yeah, like you have D&D and you have
I have 2 D&D campaigns, one on camera, one off, and then I have like one of them's the D&D thing with Wander and Bird that's at a specific schedule, and then like my entire Tuesday is always this. I come here, we record the podcast, and we do other stuff. So that's just a whole day I can't account for. So even though I put 6 videos up a day, that single-handedly ups my per day recording schedule to be 7 videos per day to maintain the status quo. And if I get more than 7, then that means it's positive now. Like it's ranking up essentially. Like I'm now ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
So every day I essentially have a score.
Yeah,
which is how many videos I recorded versus the net change that happens every day.
It's a tough balance to try to find. Usually my thing is just balancing between doing school, job, and Let's Playing if I have the time. And so I try to fit all 3 in, and I can kind of do it. I can't really record at the same level as I was when I was just splitting it between Let's Playing and work.
Yeah.
But it's like, I mean, because my thing is like for schooling, I'm trying to do it as fast as possible.
You're trying to get through an entire degree out of a 6-month payment for like you paid for a semester of online school, and you're trying to beat school in that time. Andrew's currently speedrunning school, which is absurd.
I'm playing the Dark Souls version of school.
I can't even comprehend. I would lose my mind. I think although I just don't like school.
I mean, I don't either.
Like I was good at it and I was comfortable with it, but like I don't.
It's not fun.
Want to go back necessarily? Yeah. It's not a good way of learning.
Yeah, trying to cram 4 years to 6 months is like not a thing that was built. Yeah. Like no one built a system this way. Like no one reasonably did this.
Liking learning is not the same thing as liking school.
Yes,
like learning stuff can be cool, but the way that school is generally structured is just not.
Fun. It's not intuitive.
It's not learning. Conducive, really. No,
it's a mess. Thankfully, I can. It's the only nice part is because it's because it's online. I can just every week can be a class, basically. So I can say like, okay, this is I'm doing an entire semester of a math class in 1 week. Go, and then boop 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 boop, and so I get 4 weeks out of each month. I can bust it all out. It wears on you. At some point, you start going, you like start cripplingly.
I mean, you basically have just not been recording for the longest time. We meet up on Tuesdays, and we get you. That's what you record.
Yeah,
and that's pretty much what goes on your channel, which is a problem because we're currently trying to record like all of Zero Escape before we upload any of it because. The moment we criticize anything, people basically fight our criticisms by spoiling the game, which wasn't necessarily a problem last time because we were so far ahead.
Yeah,
but now this game's even harder to tell how far you are in,
and there's a lot,
and it's longer. So like we just need to get so much done before any of it goes up, or people are just going to ruin the playthrough for themselves basically by existing. Like they'll just spoil everything, and
it's fine. That's why I've been trying to find other things to like fill the time with when it's stuff I'm doing already. Like if I'm taking a break, so try and just relax, I'll just make a vlog because it's like I could just sit outside and not have to do something. But
it's my issue is just whenever. Because I don't have a good work-life balance, basically whenever anyone invites me to anything, I just say yes. And so it's like, oh yeah, we're just going to do an escape room on Wednesday. All right, we're doing an escape room, or we're doing a tabletop night, or I'm meeting with my family for a barbecue because I just heard about that this morning. And that just means in many cases, it just means, I'm just not working that day.
Yeah.
Which is like, it sounds like a lazy take time off thing, but at the same time, it's like I don't have weekends.
It's I was going to say,
in a way, that stuff is my weekend.
It sounds great from a person who's working a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, and they're like, "Oh, that's nice. You could just go to a barbecue that day."
Literally every day forever.
But if you take a day off, that means you have to work extra hard the next day because otherwise you're behind and you already don't have days off.
Exactly. So like the moment I take one day off, it's like that week's like video debt is increased. And so now my average videos per day has to be higher, or I'll be making negative progress on my backlog that week. And that means, and that's how you get back to being stuck in a situation that I'm about to be stuck in soon if I don't fix it like tomorrow, basically, which is where I am recording like tomorrow's videos.
Yeah.
Or even worse, recording that day's videos. I lived in that space a lot when I was doing like Bloodborne and Dark Souls, and I was working my job and stuff like that. Like there was a lot of like, I'm recording videos that are going up like today. And like, that's like not. The problem with that is that you have to edit it and render it, which is already a thing. But like just importing stuff into your editing software just takes time just to do that in the first place. And then there's the editing stuff, which sometimes is nothing, basically, and sometimes is involved.
Yeah.
And then you render it, which also takes time. And even with our new hot shit, where we have GPU accelerated rendering and so much faster, it's still the amount of time it takes to render alone is often about as long as the video.
Yeah, it's about 30 minutes.
Like in many cases, the render is as long as the rendering. It takes as long as the video's duration is.
Yeah.
And also importing and editing it is often also about that long.
Yeah.
So like the process of doing all the importing and the rendering takes like twice as long as the video's recording duration.
Pretty much.
Which means that if you are stuck doing that in the middle of the day because you're trying to get out that day's video because you're behind schedule for one reason or another, that's essentially you recording one video that takes up the amount of day that would normally be you making 3 videos. And
this is why Game Grumps does 15 minutes and has an editor.
There's an appeal to the idea of having a staff that can render things.
Because you just say, like, I made 15-minute videos, here's 1 million of them, basically. Because you think about how many, like, if you look at one of Keith's Dark Souls videos, and you're like, what if you broke it up into 15-minute segments? Oh boy, that's a lot of video content. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you do that, and then you hand it to somebody, and you're like, could you just edit these? And it's like, well, what do I need to edit? A beginning and an end. That's all you got to do. There's nothing else. Don't worry about it.
It's also just the Game Grumps setup is just the dream where they have an office. Yeah. So first of all, they have the office. You have work-life separation there. You have hours.
Yep.
But also, what I love about that idea also is that your Let's Play friends are also in the same building, which it's good for recording things, obviously.
So you could be like, get over here.
But it's also good for sanity.
Yes, because you have other people to interact with.
Yeah. Like it's like it is intent. Like when I come here, it's often like intensely easier just to get shit done.
Yeah,
because it's like but also like it's easier to get like in the brain space.
Yeah, like
I have a lot of different head spaces I enter into in my lonely cube where there's like I don't even know like I go through things I don't even know how to like explain or articulate. Like, I don't think I get depression. I don't think that's a thing I deal with. But like, I'll go through stages of just like lethargy or something.
Oh, being lethargic, yeah.
Where you're just like your head just kind of feels foggy, and you just kind of feel like not doing not only like not doing anything, but almost like you can't do anything. You're just in a state where it's not demotivation. It's not tiredness.
It's like you're drive.
It's like rested, but you're like weirdly like drained despite being rested.
Yeah, you lack the drive to do something, and it's not that you're depressed or that you're tired or that you're.
But it's a thing that I think gets fixed by interacting with people socially.
Yeah. Which is why offices that have cubicles tend to have lower output than people who have like bullpen situations.
Which is a problem when you're self-employed, is that like how do you like
interact with other people?
Yeah, like the perfect thing is, especially in the middle of your workday, it's like when everyone else is at jobs, basically.
Everybody's working.
It's like the idea of having a Let's Play office that's a shared space where it's like when you go to the like even if you're recording separately, there's like break rooms or hall, like it's all like there's shared spaces where you can interact with people and then be in the right space and be like charged and then go in and do stuff.
Yeah,
it's surprisingly hard to start a session sometimes because I'm like, if I hit record right now, this will just be bad.
Yeah,
it's like that feeling.
Yeah,
but then how do you shake that when you're on a deadline? You're like, I got to make videos under a time limit, but how do I get myself in the right like?
It's like trying to be it's like a surgeon trying to do heart surgery, but your hand is like shaking incredibly. Like,
yeah,
I mean, the guy's gonna die if I don't do it. But
and then people are like, you forgot to use the boots correctly in that episode. And I'm like, I was just trying to even make a video that day. Like, I have to do it every day.
I was just trying to be alive, man.
Which I like doing, but also there's just days where I'm like, people are like, how'd you make that mistake in the video game? And I'm just trying to like not make this terrible video today.
Yeah. I will say it's one of the hardest, especially doing the school thing. That's one of my hardest motivators is that I use the Discord as my only means of interacting with people. I don't have
because one thing is people think that you're just playing video games.
Yes,
like they think that's just the job.
Yeah, the job is just hanging.
But like, just hanging out and playing video games, you're like fucking drooling practically and laying. You got the fucking chin in your neck, and you're just laying back, and there's shit on your. You got something laying on you that's probably got food in it or something. Yeah, and you're just leaning back, and you're just in like, I am consuming zero energy in this state, and you can just stay that way for 8 hours. Like we've all had, even if we don't have super unhealthy habits, we've all had that day at least.
Yeah, we've had that day.
Or like that.
Where you just
like that's just playing video games. But like doing a let's play and a performance and like talking about shit, even if you're not like not doing like a funny comedy skit the whole goddamn time and forcing that Markiplier enthusiasm and oh my god, top of the morning to you and all that like shit I hate. Like that stuff, those people have short videos because they're fucking like losing their minds. They're doing like a performance and it's so fake.
They literally are taking like a shot before they go. They're just like, huh, and then they're just like, let's go. Like,
but even if you're not doing that and you're just chill, you're still on. And that is like a thing. And it's like getting yourself into that state is so hard sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, imagine it like it's kind of like an actor to a degree. But if the actor, like if Bruce Willis had to be John McClane outside of the trailer, is kind of like the idea is like, or, it's like.
I mean, one of the most informative things you can do is you can watch me, Durf, Bird, and Wander playing like Trapper's Delight, for example. And like, we're riffing on bird stories and tearing into them, and like there's a whole back and forth and a thing going on, and everyone's being involved in like a story evolving and like a joke being formed and stuff like that. And we do that here too and everything like that. And then you watch like me playing Warcraft with Nick and Marty. And Nick is dead silent for like 80% of every episode. And I'm basically just prompting Marty with questions over and over again, trying to get any commentary to happen for hours. Because like that's the difference between Let's Players and non-Let's Players is you can witness it there, which is part of why I upload it because I find it interesting.
Yeah, it's a good juxtaposition to see.
Is just like the gap between
a person who plays video games and a person who plays video games for a living. Yeah, like there's a difference. It's like what it's like to do a performance versus just be recording. Yeah, just to hang out and like what the gap there is. Yeah, and some of that also comes up with like the Twilight Imperium streams are interesting too because it's just a bunch of random people. Yeah, and there's some stuff where like. Twilight Imperium is multiplayer enough because it's like 6 to 8 players or whatever the hell that there's just enough people involved that somebody's talking. A lot of spontaneous commentary is just happening because also you have to talk to make the game happen. Yeah, as far as like turn transitions and everything goes. But even there, like there's so much misconduct happening constantly for microphone purposes. Oh yeah, it's so and all these like genuine streams that I have that are like. Because even the Warcraft thing's kind of artificial because I'm trying to make things happen. Yeah, basically. You're still... And also Marty keeps thinking about making a channel and I keep kind of pushing him to do it. Partly because he keeps getting involved. He keeps going so far with this Twilight Imperium stuff and everything. I'm like, you should have a channel if you're going to buy all this shit. Like, you might as well have a thing that's yours because I won't be here forever. And you're making all this shit. It's like that Twilight Imperium stream with the complex overlays and shit like that. That's all him. Yeah. Have you seen like he scripted it so the victory... The victory point objectives are recycling now. Yeah. There's a dedicated spot and it rotates between each one every few seconds and it shows you all the current objectives. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Yeah. There's so much shit happening. I mean, which by the way, fucking hot exclusive. I think we're playing this Saturday at 11 a.m. Pacific live streaming. Are you going to have this edited by then? Yeah. This always goes up like the next day or the day after. Oh, yeah, that's true. Depends on how fast you get it to me. Which will be today. Because oftentimes I'm going to sleep at like 2 o'clock in the morning and it still isn't finished syncing. So I'm like, I guess I'll be editing it on Wednesday and uploading it on Thursday. As long as they're not 3 hours. But I go for uploading it on Wednesday if I can. Okay. So that's like 4 days notice or 3 days notice that, hey, this Saturday, Twilight Imperium, it's still going to be a bunch of people sitting around in a room and probably eating chips. Sorry. Yeah. But I can't literally control the whole room's content. Yeah. There's some limits. The main thing though is that when you're working from home by yourself, if your job doesn't require you to interact with other people, it can be very hard to find the motivation to keep doing it sometimes. And it's not a matter of like, I don't enjoy what I'm doing. It's just your brain like psychologically needs some kind of like stimulation from outside outside sources just to get you in the right state. Yeah, to get you to be like, okay, yeah, I can do things today. Like I've had when I was working my cubicle job, I had so many days where it's just like I would go in and just either I'd be there on time or sometimes I wouldn't be there on time and I would just hope no one would notice me coming in late. And people most likely don't. In many cases, yeah. And because everyone's in cubicles, I would just not even make eye contact with any of the people I work with for the longest time. And then I'd sit down on my station and sometimes I would just be there. Yeah. Like not necessarily even on task, just kind of sitting at a computer because you're just not
on.
Yeah.
And there's no consequences for that. At least if you're eventually getting the work done, you can kind of just lose time.
Yeah. Which is why cubicles are like have the least amount of quality or production output.
Well, that's the trap I got, is that I have a specific quota essentially of videos per day that I've set up for myself. Yeah. And so if I lose time, that just means I'm double losing time, because that's future time I have to get back by working more.
By working more.
I suspect that I suspect that a huge number of YouTube channels, especially people that are defined as being like channels that are defined as being like a person, for example, I think all of them either work way too much or way too little. Yeah. There's people like Wanderbot that are streaming for like 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day or 12 hours a day and just like are recording monstrous amounts of videos, and they're like, here's today's 12 videos, and I'm like, the fuck? And like then like the time to design today's D&D campaign and like I've got to vector art it and like all that shit, and I'm like, oh my god, how are you still running? While like just being in one space with one other person and just sitting there, because I don't know if he's met anyone in the city he lives in right now. And I don't know if he's trying to, because
does he have time?
Because he's probably planning on, like, he probably takes it for granted he's going to move again. So I don't know if he's even thinking about making friends there or knowing people. I don't know what that state is, but like, it's kind of just being in an apartment and just being in a bubble. Yeah. And like, and for people like Splattercat that are similar, I have no idea what their day to day is. But like, I know that I always am in this trap of like almost all of my time can be used for work, so it kind of is. Yeah. And thankfully, the work is also kind of an enjoyment thing, but also I recharge by like watching more passive media in my off time. Yeah. But like, then you have the opposite thing, which is that you have like the people that make like an entertaining video every now and then, and like they might disappear for 4 months,
and you're like, what are you doing?
You're like, are they actively working on it? Like, I can't tell. Like, you know that the people that make the weekly stuff generally make shittier stuff. Yeah. Or even like Dunkey, like there are like the much better videos, and then the like practically like a highlight reel let's play videos. Yeah. Like the people that fit a schedule or Peanut Butter Gamer, Dunkey, and a bunch of other people that have like a weekly schedule have either inconsistent quality or they just hit less than like when it's time for like, oh man, it's been 6 months and here's JonTron all of a sudden. But at the same time, I'm like, how did you take that long to make a video? Yeah, where's your funding? What's keeping you afloat? You didn't make a movie. Yeah. You made some jokes over a video of a game, and then also a couple of live action scenes. And like the time, even when you're thinking about like that takes work and time. I don't know if it takes that work to that time though. Yeah. Like the time that happens, I'm like, I don't know if these two things match. So I think a lot of people, because they're self-employed and there's not a clear one-to-one relationship between your work and your money, I think almost everyone ends up over or underworking, and the balance is always weird and confusing. Yeah, I think that sounds pretty common. Like, to articulate how this works, like, if you work an hourly job, yeah, you work those hours and you make that much money per hour, and that's how your job money works. Yeah. Like, you know where your money is coming from. If you work YouTube, you don't have a correlation between work and money. You have analytics, which are like the least helpful way to like gauge how your money just comes from people coming to your videos. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Any of your videos at any time that happen to be monetized. Yeah. And so like, for people like me, so much of my money comes from my backlog of videos and not from literally the videos I'm putting out that day, as well as Patreon. So like, Patreon is very easy to understand. Yeah, it's hard to comprehend the people that are choosing to give you money and stuff like that, but like mechanically it's easy. Yeah, but YouTube is more mechanically abstract and confusing, and that part is where things get weird. Like, I could technically just stop making videos for a while, and I would just keep making money that's similar to what I was making when I was making videos. And it would just go that way for a while, at the very least. Yeah. But the problem is, if you stop making videos for a while, then people have this gap of time they were spending hours on before. That was your channel. Yeah. And now that's gone. So they're going to seek out other entertainment. and that's going to become their new like routine.
Yeah.
Then you come back like I'm making videos again, and they're like, but my routine is this now, and like I don't know when I'm going to have time for that. It's like good to see you're back, but also I'm doing this thing right now, and then and a significant portion of them will just keep doing the other thing unless they happen to disappear. And so you lose viewership potentially permanently just for taking a break.
Yeah.
Like that's a thing that happens on YouTube.
And that's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if you're not like JonTron, where one video coming out is like a internet sensation. Where like, you know, literally JonTron video comes out, it's on Reddit, it's on Twitter, it's on YouTube, you know, it's on Facebook, it's on like, it's everywhere because people are like, JonTron's back. But like, if you do a video every day, the moment you cut that line of production off, everyone else just goes to the next production line. They just find another place that's delivering the goods. Whereas, you know, if you're somebody who like gives them only goods so often, when you do bring it, everyone's like, I want to give me.
And I feel the routine because like I'll sit down, like I'll have myself. I found myself falling into the pattern of like sitting down for lunch and watching Philip DeFranco on weekdays. And like to the point where it's like, because I don't have weekends, when the weekend rolls around, I'm like, there's no Philip DeFranco video. Like I have to like pick out like a Game Grumps video or something to watch for my lunch because my normal routine is disrupted 2 days of every week. Because that's how my schedule works. And so it's like I would follow like, and that's like that used to be Game Grumps.
Yeah.
Like that used to be my lunch routine. And now it's Philip DeFranco, which means me I'm falling behind on watching Game Grumps videos. And like like I've done it myself. Like it just happens.
Yeah.
And so like YouTube people are like, they have to be entirely self-motivated because it's not like I need this much money to survive this month. And that this much video will make that much money. So I must make that much video is not a thing.
Yeah.
And so oftentimes we've set completely arbitrary goals, and many of us just cling with dear life to that arbitrary thing we've made up of how our schedule should work.
Yeah.
Because if we don't treat that as sacred and stick to it, then we might just slack off all the time.
Yeah, you have to impose rules on yourself with an underlying threat to it to keep yourself on that because you're afraid of the repercussions. But if you just go with it lackadaisically, saying like, just make videos, just edit them, just upload them, you may just not do that because you don't have anything that's like prodding you in the back.
Like I have to make 6 videos a day, and
and some people could say like,
if I decided to make it 4 videos a day, it wouldn't just be like a whim. I would have to be literally like, this is my channel now. Yeah, I will now be the 4 video a day guy, and that'll be what it is now. Yeah, because I can't just on a whim be like, I'll make 5 videos today, I'll make 4 videos today, like, because that is an actual literal non-fallacious, whatever it's called, actual slippery slope. Yeah, that's kind of what happened to Undertale and things like that. Is I was working my job and I would just get shit done when I could get it done, and whatever videos were ready were going to go up next. And a lot of videos were on a more of like an every other day sort of schedule. Yeah, I was just doing whatever.
Basically, what I do now. Yeah, my channel is just like, if I can find the time. Because
you're just recording when you record. Yeah, the end result is often you just don't record. Yeah, like because it's easy to see on your channel you've largely not made videos besides what we do on Tuesdays. And that's because you're doing other shit. And if you don't have a specific requirement you set for yourself that you're going to do, then that stuff just doesn't get done.
And I'll be honest, I could fill my like breathing time. Like I give myself about an hour, 2 hours between after I'm done with schooling and then go to work, like doing my actual job. And I could record in that time and then just edit something before I go to bed if I have time or whatever. But honestly, I fill it with like reading books and like watching, catching up on some videos or shows or things like that. I mean, like I still am trying to, I'm still trying to keep up with like 13 anime series every season. And I've been reading about a book every 2 weeks if I can find the time, sometimes once a week.
It's like, Donkey makes a video every the same day every week, doesn't he? Because I didn't pick up on that for the longest time because he wasn't in my routine. Yeah. I would just watch week's video eventually.
That's
basically.
what I do with Donkey.
Yeah, but you pointed out at some point that it's apparently the same day every time.
Yeah.
And like that, like that's not a coincidence.
No.
Donkey decided on an upload schedule that he's going to stick to, and that's why even if the video quality varies, they still come out at the same time. And it's because if he doesn't do that, he'll fall into a trap of just not doing it.
He'll become JonTron. Which is not, I mean, it's not disparaging. It's a thing JonTron's talked about himself, which is like one of the hardest parts about getting videos out is because he just he knows he can take the time to make it perfect. So he takes too much time to make it perfect. So he'll just keep doing it. And since he doesn't have a strict schedule of like JonTron has to make a video every month, like he'll just say like, I'll just wait 4 months until I feel comfortable with the video. And that's a problem because if for people who
or with Let's Players, it's not that you're making it perfect or anything, because it's like it's basically a live performance even when it's not live. But like if you don't have a specific requirement and quota you set for yourself, then yeah, the lackadaisical do whatever you feel like, man, just means you're not going to make stuff.
Yeah.
Or you're going to make way less stuff for being consistent. And that's not how you, in many cases, that's not how you got where you were.
Yeah, it's not how you got where you were. It was a lot of like hard work, dedication, and most importantly, a consistency. There's some kind of consistency.
That's what was impressive about Wander from the very beginning is that like at the beginning, we were kind of making like a video or two a day on this channel. And on my channel, I was doing whatever the fuck I felt like, basically. Yeah. Like, I would take a week off. I would disappear for large chunks of time. I would, like, there was a chunk of time where I was addicted to Destiny, and I was doing raids and everything. So it's like, I don't know, there's a couple of WoW videos here and there. Amazingly, that was, like, back when, that was the beginning of our first, like, revival of the WoW series.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like, bafflingly was so far back that I was, like, at my dad's house and like not even considering my YouTube channel to be like my main one. Even it was Sad Games first, and so I was like uploading a random WoW video every other day. It was like my channel. That's weird to think about, right?
Yeah.
Like I do like 6 playthroughs of a day now, where it's like here's my Patreon series, my indie series, my puzzle game series, and my RPG series, and some other miscellaneous stuff. And like there was times where I was uploading like a 25-minute video of WoW every other day. And that was it.
Yeah.
Because that was it. But at the time, freaking Wander was uploading like 4 videos a day already.
Yeah.
Like, his videos had no views for like Psychonauts and Sleeping Dogs in particular. And Kingdoms, I remember at the beginning, he had giant playthroughs of Psychonauts, Kingdoms of Amalur, and Sleeping Dogs. There were like 70 episodes, 100 episodes. And the videos were they just had no views.
Yeah.
And he was still sticking it out. I'm like, holy fuck.
And look where he is now.
But that's how you keep going is you need a schedule and you need to stick to it, and you need to be self-driven, or you won't, first of all, you won't get past that initial barrier of no one's watching my videos, but you also won't get past the part where like once you start making some money, you also just need to keep working.
Yeah, you didn't succeed.
Yeah.
There's no
you don't keep the success.
Yeah, the thing people keep forgetting is that like I think a lot of the big problems is people look towards big YouTubers as that success.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, I've reached 5 million subscribers. Oh, 10 million subscribers. Like, oh, I'm PewDiePie. I literally have, I don't know how many anymore. It's too bad. Too many. That's not okay. Stop subscribing to PewDiePie. Like, when you reach those kind of levels, you think like, I have succeeded. I've done it. Those people still make videos though. They still can keep to a consistent schedule. And why do they do that is because the success isn't permanent. They have to
be self-motivated to keep the consistency, or it'll kind of just
but you have to, like, people have to remember that, like, once you get to a point, it's not like YouTube just starts like cashing a check to you. Like, they don't give you a salary all of a sudden. They go like, oh, 5 million. All right, you're part of the YouTube team now. You get a check cut every. Nope, they do.
And
they
the popularity
treat you,
of channels can go all over the place. Like, I remember, I don't know if it's still true because he's kind of been active again lately, but like I remember one of the larger channels I started paying attention to at one point in particular was Wings of Redemption, Jordy Jordan.
Yeah.
And that's because he commented on my Legend of Grimrock playthrough, like way back.
Yeah, I remember that was like
a
while ago.
1,000 or less subscribers, and it was so far back ago. And I'm just getting this comment from somebody that's like 450,000 subscribers, and I'm like, what the fuck? I hadn't heard of him before, because that's the surprise of YouTube, is there's always another like 500,000 or even like 2 million subscriber channel you've never heard of, but has been around for years. And I'm like,
but you gotta,
I'm like, how do I keep finding more of these?
You got to remember, there's so many people on the planet,
and that's the power of demographics.
Yeah,
because I'm not going to know about a Call of Duty channel.
No.
So it's like, oh yeah, there's a whole circle of Call of Duty channels that get together and do podcasts together and shit like that. And I'm like, I've never heard of a single one of these people, and they collectively represent like 10 million subscribers. And I'm like, the fuck?
Yeah.
Like it's amazing. Like we're in a circle where like people like channels like Game Grumps and Best Friends Play come up constantly.
Mm-hmm.
And Best Friends Play doesn't even have 1 million subscribers yet.
No.
And when we're at peak levels of everyone talking about Game Grumps all the time, they had like 1 million subs total.
Yes.
It's like, it's crazy to think about. Like, there's so many much larger channels, like fucking Captain Sparkles or whatever, that like I just never hear about.
Yeah, because they're just not. Yeah, it's just not your demographic.
But like the reason why the schedule thing is so important, and making consistent, being self-motivated, making videos on a schedule, making videos of consistent like content and quality of some level, like that it matches the expectations of what people are getting, so they don't just leave.
Yeah.
Is that like at one point I'm sitting there with like 30,000 subscribers, and Jordy's sitting at like 450, and I look at Social Blade and see what our like monthly views is, and I see that like mine's higher.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if that's true right now, but I remember at having a moment where I checked that, and I was like, oh shit, like that's, yeah. That on paper, that seems like a way larger channel, and yet apparently I'm a larger channel, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, is that again, the swaying of popularity is just, it's a wave. It just can go up and down,
and it's not, yeah, it's not just subscriber, it's actual like ethic, like work ethic, of,
yeah,
like, consistency.
It's consistency, it's drive, it's like how good the quality of your content is, like, and all that stuff comes from just being motivated. It comes from like motivating yourself, getting the things done, doing it consistently,
which translates to overworking.
Yeah, which translates
having terrible ideas of how to work-life balance.
Yeah, to answer the question, nobody has good work-life balance if you're self-employed, usually, unless you're self-employed.
I can't even imagine how people do it when they're like a CGP Grey style, like heavily researched and also hand animated like information video.
Yeah.
Or like for example, like an actual animation channel that is self-driven. Well, back when that was a thing. Like, yeah. I don't know how. Trying to imagine those people working at home.
I think those people
finding the life space to like make that work is crazy to me.
I mean, artists are the hardest ones. I mean, they know the most than anybody about like motivation and sticking to schedules.
I think like video essay channels like Shammy and Joseph Anderson.
And look at them. A lot of them usually have problems at times.
Their video upload schedules are all over the place, or like Creel.
Yeah.
Those people where it's like, I at least finish the thing every day.
Yeah,
like whatever, because I'm doing it's Let's Plays, but I mean, like I get the feeling of like, oh, I made this many videos today; those go up tomorrow.
You get the satisfaction of completion.
Yeah, I can't even imagine my work situation crossed with like the multi-week production cycle of video essay channels.
Yeah,
and I'm like, how do you even know if you did a day correctly, or like if you spent your time correctly, or making progress like that? The idea of just not progressing for the longest time is just crazy, and like not knowing, like I don't even know how their lives work.
Yeah,
I'm not saying they're not working enough. I'm literally saying I don't know how you process such big jobs when you don't have a boss, you don't have an office, you don't have coworkers or like a system that measures any of this stuff, or quotas or anything, and you're supposed to make like a major multi-week project that you manage entirely on your own. Like, if these people's channels ever collapse, they've got to be great employees to get to your coding job or whatever the fuck that has all these teams that work together and everything. Like that's the person you want to hire. Is like, I
mean, yeah, that's one of the qualities too, is that if you can if you're somebody who's really good at motivating yourself to do the job that you need to do, then it tends to be like, yeah, you're somebody who would be good at,
like, if YouTube implodes one day, like, those are the people you want to hire.
Yeah,
is the people that have like crazy self-driven solo channels where they did a thing that required work and they were making it work.
Yeah,
like, holy shit.
Yeah, like, don't go to me. I just keep throwing more stuff
or
on
not
my plate.
Or not the dumb, like, I'm a rich person, look how rich I am, vlog, and that's that's their channel, which is the Pauls. It's just they're just cataloging how privileged they are all day, basically. And like flexing on their audience, basically. Like, look how rich I am. I spent all this money today on a thing. Buy my shit. Rich.
Yeah, buy my shit so I could buy more stupid shit.
I don't exist in humanity. Don't know what society is. Like, they're just in space and filming it. And I'm like, oh, great. What the fuck is this?
Yeah. It's weird. But yeah, that's the answer to that. Basically, sleep as much as you want, work as much as you want, and enjoy life as much as you want.
And just keep telling yourself that you'll have time later.
Yeah, but also be consistent about it. If anything else, just be consistent.
I'm so buying an office if I ever can afford it.
Buying an office? You could just rent one. Jesus, don't get so lofty. Like,
I'm buying a loft,
he's
too.
like, I'm getting a goddamn building 20 stories for one Let's Play channel.
I'm also buying a loft. That's how lofty I am. My dreams. My literally lofty dreams. See you guys next time. We'll try not to talk about the workplace depression next time. Did I tell you I Googled that shit?
Workplace depression?
Yeah, I think we talked about before. It was when I was working my office job.
Oh, yeah,
and I was
yeah.
Googling the concept of like,
what's
like, how do you tell depression or not? Because I hated it there. And I was like, that's when I found all the articles about how like the guy who designed cubicles in the first place hates them because he sees them as being like this horrible like life destroyer that just causes depression and suicide because they're just these gray nightmare walls, where he thought he was creating like, I'm going to create a desk that's like the Swiss Army knife of desks, and it's just so useful for working. And then they became like, we're going to pack 500 people into one room for space efficiency, and they can't see or talk to each other, and all they see is gray all day. Go ahead and hang up pictures of your kids if it makes you feel better. The last person who worked in my cubicle left a bunch of pictures that were like laminated photos of landscapes and forests and shit, and I left them there because they were better than not having them.
They're like a legacy.
It was better than not having them there.
Like, don't get depression like me. Have trees. Like,
it was better than not having them there. See you guys next time.
Bye.